and then just hit go live. And once that goes live, put us on mute. Turn us off. Just turn us off. Keep turning.
The game plays right here.
Are you ready for some football?
Your sports leader, WOHS Shelby, WLON Lincoln, WCSL Cherryville Gastonia.
Chosen breed, you don't see too many like me. Cause I am one of the reasons you do what you do when you wanna be me instead of you. Cause I am still on beat, showing love to the streets. Come on, you know me, cause that's who I am.
And good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Shock Joxx. Had Monday afternoon off. I was in the sick ward, not the corona ward, but my stomach problems. No big deal. And I'm back and ready to rock. Feeling great. I wouldn't say feel great. Feeling upbeat. Great weekend though of football. One of my favorite weekends of the year. We added 2 wild cards to it. Super wild card weekend. And I couldn't have had any more fun watching the NFL playoffs. Just back-to-back games. Hunter, I had every excuse in the world. Anything my wife wanted to do this weekend, I'm working.
Right.
Yeah, I've got to watch every second of this so I can break it down on Monday and Wednesday with Hunter. And so I'm sorry, babe. And then I was sick Monday, and then yesterday kind of out. And so she hasn't had me do. I hadn't done shit around the house for like 4 days, so she's not too. They're not too thrilled with my presence right now.
Right. You're just kind of there.
Do what? I hadn't done them yet. Give me a sec. They've missed me, but I've had a lot of TV time and to watch. Hunter, you got to see the national championship. Did Tom pick Ohio State?
Yes.
Okay, I'm looking at the picks.
This is Tom.
Sure. I just wanted to make sure.
Did he pick Ohio State?
I just wanted to make sure, and then I did in overtime. So that was I think I got Alabama's score right, but not not Ohio State's. What was the final in that, Hunter?
Final score
Do you
was
know
like
off the top of your head?
Well, I can just put it to you briefly. It was a lot to a little.
Well, thanks.
It was like 54
it was
to like
54 to 25 maybe.
Jeez.
I can tell you in a minute.
What I heard, the Alabama's got 13 draftable players.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Did you see the pick? You know, I know you.
52 to 24. I was close.
52-24 was the score.
Final
right?
score. Mm-hmm.
Well, Terry had the closest on that then. He had 47-21. And you had 44-34. You got a little bit closer. Terry was the closest on it. And me and Tom and I missed that. So
No, I've nailed the OSU score though of 24.
You said 34.
Oh, I said 34?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I said 24.
No, 34, sir. 34.
That's right. I said it would be a 10-point game.
Right,
because But what was the line in that game? I can't remember what the line was in that game.
It was 8 or 9 or 10, something like that.
Because if that was the case, I still had Alabama covering, which they did handily. Let me see if I can't find what the line was in that game.
So, Hunter, we want to welcome everybody as we switch over to our 3-shot here to our intern.
It was Alabama 9.5. So yeah,
9.5, right on it. That's what you were going with right on the spread.
Mm-hmm.
So Hunter was all over Vegas on that. Alabama, covered obviously. But I do want to welcome everybody. If I look down in my screen, let me figure if I can have a point right. Down here in the corner is Tanner Halbert. Hello, Tanner. Wave to your fans. And Tanner is an aspiring a lot of things. Tanner, you're going to school, Cleveland Community College, so you're one of the first Yeti graduates. Now that they got the nicknames, you need a Yeti shirt up in here.
Yeah.
What are you looking to pursue? You was talking about possibly doing a podcast in here earlier, and we're going to try to set you up with learning about that and welcome you. You're going to do a lot of sports here with us. We've got sports talk. We've got games. We've got some other things. Let me see this real quick. I got to upload something for Andre while we're sitting here. And just tell a little bit about yourself, high school graduate and college real quick, and your favorite teams. I know we kind of did this one day on Saturday, but here for the podcast, I wanted to refresh everybody, and then we'll break down Alabama, Ohio State in just a second as Tanner gets into working here with us at KTC. I'm glad to have him. We've had a bunch of interns come in. Hunter, you never were an intern.
No.
You were paid.
Peyton was.
Peyton was an intern.
Jock
Evan,
was an intern when
Jock,
I came.
Seth. We've had a quite a few interns come in for school and a few that weren't even in school. We welcome folks to come in and work for us, and I always take free work. Obviously, it helps. We're a small town, business here, and we don't have millions of dollars in enterprise here, and do what we can. So all of the folks that we get on the interns from the schools. And then when you go into and then do look at everybody that works for us, Tanner, like we've got on Friday nights, 30 people. I'd say, 100, maybe 4 of them didn't go to high school at one of the local schools. Mm-hmm. Like it's not much at all. Like everybody that works for us at some point went to one of the schools or taught at one of the schools or has kids at one of the schools. So that our business has been, Hunter, in the past doing high school sports, but with the corona shut down our high school sports production, and the schools have taken over their own. So looks like we don't know if that'll be in the direction. So we're gonna do as much as we can and get Tanner here learning about podcasting and video, and he can do some video editing, and he is a aspiring rapper as well, right?
Yeah.
He's gonna lay down some freestyle for us here later. We got a opening for us, Hunter. I want you to write. This is gonna be one of your projects. I want you to write. I can help. I'll help you produce. We'll put the music together. Just write you a well, how many seconds we need? 30, 45 seconds, Hunter? Opening.
Just depends.
About the Shock Joxx.
Maybe like 30 seconds.
Yeah. 30 seconds to a minute. About the Shock Joxx. We do all kinds of sports. And Tanner's going to write us up something and maybe have us an opening here. We're going to work on that here. So that'll be one of his projects. So welcome to the shows, Tanner, and let's get into it, Hunter. Alabama, 13 draftable players, they said. Looking at the funniest picture I saw is, of course, you being a Washington fan, you're starting to feel you some Mac Jones. The pictures of him without his shirt on.
It's so funny. And
Devontae Smith looking like he's in middle school with his pants hiked up to his belly button. Like that's unstoppable.
I know. That's unstoppable.
And what's funny about it though is if you look at the pictures of Brady when he was in college.
Didn't look
like
athletic.
I showed that to my wife.
Yeah.
She said, "Who's that?"
Yeah.
I said, "That's Tom Brady." She said, "When?" And I said, "When he was when he graduated college and going into the NFL combine."
That was his combine picture.
That was his peak. That was his peak athletic performance, Hunter.
I know.
Was Brady, and I was like, honestly, I'm not patting myself on the back. Please God, tell me I looked better than Tom Brady at age 21. She's like, yeah. I was like, all right. So I'm counting that as a win.
Devontae Smith, he's really skinny too.
But she didn't like the response to that though, Hunter. I said maybe by the time I'm 40, I can have a supermodel.
Oh, yeah, maybe should have said that part right there.
Why?
But,
I was trying.
Watching the game, obviously, I had told this to my father when he thought it was going to be Clemson, Alabama in the national championship. I said, Dad, I don't care who meets Alabama in the national championship. Alabama is head and shoulders above everybody that they've played this year. They've got so much talent just around them at Alabama, from the wide receiver core. Even Jalen Waddle was out there running around on a hobbled ankle or knee just so he could be out there. But you had to take him into account because of the breakaway that he could have. Say you maybe say, oh, well, he's not going to hurt us. He's on one leg, but he ends up catching maybe 3 or 4, decisive passes. So there's talent everywhere. If you want to try and stop Devontae Smith, which is why I said try and stop Devontae Smith, good luck with that. Then they've got Najee Harris they can give the ball to out of the backfield or swing the ball out of the backfield to. The defense, they showed up. I know Nick Saban this year was on record talking about how it's almost offense that wins the wins in the college football right now, but their defense really stepped up for Alabama. Justin Fields didn't play his best game. Obviously, this wasn't his Clemson game that he played where he was throwing the ball deep everywhere and getting touchdowns. I just felt like Alabama from the start, even though I know it was close until it got to halftime when it was 28-10, for a little while, I would watch both offenses and I would just say, okay, Alabama might have sputtered here, but I trust this offense to get up and going faster than I do Ohio State's. And traction, you're right, as a Washington fan, knowing where we are in the draft, if we don't make a move, obviously, for a free agent quarterback or a trade for a quarterback or trade up for a quarterback, Mac Jones is being so far projected to be in that zone. I watched Todd McShay's pre-draft 1.0. He always puts out something different every week, it seems like. But it had us drafting Trey Lance out of North Dakota State, and then like 2 picks later, Indianapolis taking Mac Jones. And I was like, wait a minute, no. Flip that. I would much rather have Mac Jones than a big question mark around Trey Lance. After what I saw Mac Jones do with Ohio State, it comes down, because I've heard a lot of people so far this past weekend after the game, or the few days after, how do you evaluate Mac Jones? Because he's almost in the same position that Joe Burrow was in last year, where you look around him and he's got 14, maybe 15 guys that are going to get drafted. All of his weapons are elite, and so really everybody that they're playing against, the whole offense was just head and shoulders above the whole defense. So how do you evaluate Mac Jones? And to me, it's like, he's got a good arm. He's NFL sized. Sure, we've seen him with the pictures with his shirt off. That's funny. Ha ha. Yeah. But the NFL will get a hold of that. Don't worry. Those trainers will make sure that he's probably in better shape than what he is in Alabama. And I want people to remember, too, he'll have NFL caliber talent around him wherever he gets drafted, because they got drafted for a reason. So they can play at the next level. So I feel like he can. It just comes down to, just like every quarterback, that's why I have a question mark about Trevor Lawrence's careers. Where do you go? Who drafts you? So, you said 13 people might be drafted by Alabama, or out of Alabama. 14 were drafted from last year's LSU team. So when you have 2 amazing programs like that, and they have stellar years, I think the quarterback's going to work out no matter what. Because Joe Burrow had a lot of upside till he tore his ACL.
I'm pulling up some mock drafts and everything here. That's 2 of the same ones I had to back out. What do you think, besides the obvious, you can call it a talent gap, but, Saban talking about the offenses and stuff, and what do you go to the NFL, it's all about defense.
It is.
And quarterback play. It's the quarterback position, we talk about who can do this and who can do that. Almost every game in the NFL is a one-possession game.
Majority of the time.
So, really, and the Browns can attest to this, is if you've got a good defense, which the Browns don't, but they've been playing decent enough, but if you don't turn the ball over, you have a chance to win every game.
Right.
Whether or not, that's in the NFL. But in college, you can sit here, and these teams, they're scoring 52, whatever, the championship game, and he says there's no defense. This is from Saban. Like, what do you do in college to fix it? Do you want the defense, or or are they doing this to get recruits? Is this a recruiting ploy? Is more offense, more points?
I don't know.
You know what I
I
mean?
don't know
Like,
what
I
it
need
is.
to-
Because for
let me
years
Google something real quick.
because for years it was Alabama's mantra, because that's what Nick Saban's background is defense. Defense, defense, defense. We're going to have some of the best defensive players in the country. And when you would go into the draft, some of the best players in the draft would be from Alabama. I can already tell you right now, I thought Washington was building NFL Alabama on defense. That's what it is. They got Jonathan Allen and De'Aaron Payne at the D tackle spot. Both played at Alabama. We went out and got Landon Collins, Alabama. Alabama, we just know they produce defensive studs, but it has seemed to have changed. And they produce running backs. Mark Ingram, obviously a good running back. Derrick Henry is a good running back.
Wide receivers and running backs.
But that's what I'm saying now.
Linemen.
Now they're becoming a wide receiver factory. Last year they had Jerry Jeudy and Henry Ruggs that got drafted. This year they're probably going to have Jalen Waddle, and Devontae Smith could go in the top 5 just depending on need. So Alabama, I gotta give them credit. Obviously, I'm not a fan, and I'm tired of seeing them. I think that's everybody really in college football. They want more parity, but I gotta give them credit. They develop these players. When they come out, they're all ready for the NFL.
All right, so with Saban passing Bryant, like, to me, it's all about ego with him on this.
Why he would continue to coach?
Why would you continue to coach?
Yeah.
Alabama, like again, I one thing that, you know, we talk about these college coaches, like, would Saban be doing the same thing if he was at NC State?
Right.
Would he be doing the same thing at Appalachian State or Marshall or somewhere else? And you point to the Urban Meyers of the world, who did well at Utah, but
Everywhere he's been.
but where did that get Utah? And you know, he still had to change schools to get a big time national championship. So, you know, Spurrier went to South Carolina, didn't do well. Saban went to the Dolphins, didn't do well. It's awful, you know, easy to pat yourselves on the back with the best players every year. Like, you don't see. That's the thing. Like, at least in basketball, with a one and done, and I guess the way the tournament's set up, you can have a team like Duke with 3 top 10 picks not even make the Final Four.
Right.
That wouldn't happen in college football when you're outmanned.
Yeah.
You would think in basketball that would be more of an advantage, but it hasn't seemed to be the same case as it is in football. And what do? You know, I think, Hunter, changing, you know, whether it's the voting system, whether it's allowing teams in, you know, the automatic bids, because right now, if you only have a chance, like if you're a college player, you're a highly recruited player, what choices do you have other than?
Well, if you want to play for a national championship, right.
If you want to win a national championship, you like college football, and you say, well, would I rather go to Alabama or go to and be like the fifth wide receiver, or go to Texas El Paso and be the number 1 and play? It's there's different attitudes and different thoughts in that, and I'm kind of wondering if them winning this much, and then of course, even if it's one team winning, whether it's the Patriots, it wasn't the same teams every year that they were playing over and over, whether it's Clemson and Notre Dame, and whoever.
Well, yeah, I think it's what Clemson, Ohio State, Oklahoma, and Alabama have made, like, except one or two, about all of them. Absolutely. Okay. And so it is kind of boring to a degree. There does need to be a change because, like you said, if you're a 5-star recruit, because it almost goes the same thing with basketball. If you're going to go play basketball and you know maybe it's only for a year, you're probably going to go to a place where, well, if I'm going to play, I'm going to try and compete in the tournament and try and go win a national championship. And the same thing can be said for college. If I'm going to go play college football because I have to, and I have to be there for 3 years, I'm going to go somewhere where I can at least compete for a national championship. I saw a fun fact. But it also goes back. It's a fun fact, but it also kind of points back to how boring college football has gotten with who competes for a national championship. Every Nick Saban recruiting class has won a national championship of some sort.
That's amazing.
Every Nick Saban, and of course they have years where they don't, but that means obviously they have to be in school at least 3 years or the 4 years that they're there. At least one of those years they are there. They have won a national championship. Now, that's not me to dispute that Alabama's probably not one of the best college football teams in America every year. But it does get to the point where it seems like they're the only team each and every year that's locked in to make a college football playoff and a national championship no matter what. If you are another school, just go ahead and write it off.
Yeah.
Right, it seems like just go ahead and write it off. Your goal this year should at least be to have a winning record or to try and win your conference championship game. Because other than that, maybe a bowl game just to make you feel better. But at the end of the day, if the kids want to win championships, they want to win championships, they're not, I hate to say, they're not going to come play at a North Carolina. They might go play at a Georgia, who I root for a lot and watch them all the time. But at the same time, we know usually who's going to be there at the end. It's going to be Alabama. It's going to be Clemson. It's going to be Ohio State more than likely. That's because those are the three winners. Those are the three teams that usually consistently win their conference. Oklahoma's been very consistent past 10 years, so you could go ahead and write those four every
Doesn't
year.
expanding the playoffs make more of those recruits
It does.
go to the different teams?
It does. Joel Klatt came out and
Because if you got
said,
8 teams, you know that, hey, if you know you might be
right,
second in the ACC instead of Alabama, you might go to Georgia.
right. No,
You
I
might
know,
have
you're
a
right.
run.
You're right. And Joel Klatt on the Herd, I think it was yesterday, I was watching it, and he said he proposed a 14-team playoff. And he said 14 and give your top 2 teams buys, just like they're doing in the NFL this year.
Yeah.
And he said you can have, obviously, your automatic qualifiers, but he wants to get rid of the committee, which I'm fine with. I'm fine with. He said you want to get rid of the committee and maybe go back to the bowl system, which had more computers involved and actual numbers than just more of an eye test and he said, she said. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which is understandable, and I get that. There might be some tweaking you can do to that. You could do 12 teams if you wanted. You can tweak it however you want. But the 4 teams, it just feels like it's everybody else is riding in coach, and the rest of them are in first. Those 4 schools are in first class. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's the blue collars, and then there's those 4 white collar teams.
Well,
That'll always, no matter what, they always get the invitation first.
Well, we see around here, Hunter, in our local sports, and in football in particular, is that the bigger the roster size, the better. So extrapolating that to college, though, they have the same.
Usually have the same roster
They all have the
sizes,
same rosters,
but not as many
scholarships.
4
But
to 5
again,
star players.
Right. So when you're looking at that, then you got to look at if we've got 10 5-stars in North Carolina, they ain't got one. It's almost you got a whole side of the ball, and whether or not a 4 stars or 5 stars, whoever gives these kids the stars,
Right.
either way, you do have more technical talent. Like it's not like in free agency, like and that's why these college coaches don't want the free agency because they would.
Well, no, that's why Nick
the kids
Saban,
be
what was it,
allowed
a
to
year or two ago
transfer,
after
go wherever
Jalen
they
Hurts
want.
transferred, he was already bashing the transfer portal. He was upset that kids were leaving school. It's like, I don't think you realize that he wants to play. Like, he doesn't want to sit
right.
behind Tua in his senior year.
See, he's in his little world where everything revolves around Nick Saban, and that's what I mean. Like, at what point does doing what he does get old?
Not till that check dries up.
That's what I was about to say. What is he motivated by? That's a lot. Obviously, is he motivated by? Does he want another NFL run or not? That's because you don't.
If he does, he has options right now.
You don't leave Alabama.
I think there are 6 teams right now that haven't committed to a new head coach. If he wants to try that, he just won a national championship. You think a team wouldn't look at him and say, "What was this? His 6th, 7th national championship? Seventh. You don't think they wouldn't look at him and say, "Okay, we'll give you a shot here." Mm-hmm. I mean, for God's sakes, it's getting hotter and hotter. That Urban Meyer's probably going to get the job in Jacksonville. It's just getting hotter and hotter. So and Philadelphia, it was reported, reached out. First person they reached out to after firing Doug Peterson, Lincoln Riley. So these NFL teams are looking at universities and college coaches. So if Nick Saban wants another shot at the NFL, I'm sure he would really be the first in line for a lot of these jobs.
Yeah.
I don't know what's driving him. He's doing a good job. I can't knock him. If as long as you're winning and you just love to win, fine. I mean, fine. If you love the grind that college coaching brings, because that was what caused the Washington head coach to retire and to stop coaching in Washington. He wanted to be around his family because how it started now with 2 signing days now in college athletics. You have to be on the road constantly, even in the offseason, just recruiting players. So at what point does that get old for, how old is he? In his mid to late 60s?
Gotta be
Nick
only
Saban?
70. I'm not sure.
I mean, I don't know. He might be in his early 60s. I might be overplaying that. But congratulations to Alabama. Obviously, this is their, 6th championship in 10 years? But still, at the same time, next year, if it's still those Final Four, it's just going to keep getting older and older, and people are just going to keep complaining and having the same conversations that we're having now. How can they make college football better? And eventually it's going to get to the point, kind of like how college basketball is now, where nobody's really watching college basketball anymore. They really aren't, because it is the one and done thing. They don't know anybody that's there anymore. They know they're going to see them for a blip and then they're gone. But here's the thing, it's the opposite. We see them too much. So it's just boring. You know just as well as I do. When it was Golden State LeBron for like 4 years in a row, it started to get kind of boring. Same thing when it was the New England Patriots almost 3 to 4 years in a row, except for who they were playing. Most of the time you're like, I'm tired of seeing the Patriots being here. So if anybody can beat them, do it. And now it's the point where it's same with Bama, Clemson, and Ohio State. And like, I get it for those fan bases. That's great. I mean, it feels good, obviously, being a North Carolina fan and loving their basketball team, how they were always for the most part. I know the past 2 years have been tough, but for the most part, they're always in contention for a championship. It's the same thing now. Georgia's getting the same way, but it's just when everybody else is just there, and it seems like those are the only guys that are ever there, you're sitting here saying, I would like to get invited to the party at least once, maybe twice. Maybe 3 times. I don't know.
Yeah.
They've been there for the past 7 to 8 years.
So I'm looking at NFL average scoring, or I'm not NFL, but college average scoring. So in the NFL, the high is like 32, 33, 34, and the lows around 20. Average in the NFL score throughout history, however, has been right at 24.
Yeah.
I can't find a historical college one today. I may be able to find it at a different time, but looking at this year's mean, whatever, the mean is sitting right about 29 points a game.
It's almost 30.
Right. The high is 49. Can you guess? 49.8. Can you guess who?
Who scores that? It was Alabama.
They're second.
Oh, okay.
At 48.5. You can't mess with Kent State.
Wow.
What?
Kent State has the number 1 scoring offense in the country. Alabama 2. Buffalo Bulls, number 3.
Buffalo did very good this year.
Clemson 4, Texas 5, Oklahoma 6, Central Florida 7, Western Michigan 8, BYU 9, and Ohio State 10, tied with your North Carolina Tar Heels.
Yeah.
Which Hunter, I saw a not too early.
Oh, yeah, they're 7th.
Didn't we just do this?
No.
Didn't we just go through this?
The difference is you look at the players that they're returning 10 out of their 11 starters on defense.
I saw that Chad's the only one gone.
Chad's the only one gone.
Now, let's take that into context, though.
He is their best tackler.
He's the only one that tackles anyone on the whole defense.
But the
so
guy
those 10 guys coming back,
the guy that
can't tackle anyone in this
room. The guy that came
room.
in for him in the bowl game played very good. He did. He was a freshman, so he's going to have time to really dig in and learn. This will be and they did not lose a single coordinator to any hires. North Carolina is returning all their coaches, head coaches, offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, wide receiver coaches. They're returning everybody. Sam Howell was coming back again. This is going to be his junior year. He is going to be probably one of the ones people keep their eyes on when it comes to Heisman voting next. So this is just going to be something to watch for with North Carolina going forward.
Yeah.
Will they stay at 7th? I don't know. I can't promise you they'll stay in the top 10. But I do think they will be consistently a top 25 team on the season. I would have to look at what their schedule looks like next year. And if the only person on their schedule that looks like will give them any trouble might be Miami or Clemson, then they have a great opportunity of maybe only losing 1 to 2 games next year. Now, 7th, I get it. It's very high, especially if we're not talking North Carolina basketball. 7th is very high for North Carolina football. But for God's sakes, they were ranked 5th at one point this year. I'm just saying, when you look at they're a team that did not lose any of their coordinators or their head coach is there for his third season, so it's still getting implemented. Sam Howell will have been in this system for another year. It's going to be tough replacing their running backs and the 1,000-yard wide receiver that they had, but they're in a good position to. If you look at the ACC, because think about it, what's a good year though? If they make the ACC championship game, but I mean that's great. But no one's going to say they're going to beat Clemson.
Are they on Clemson side or not?
No,
they're
not on Clemson side. NC State is in Clemson side. North Carolina is not.
So Clemson's won.
North Carolina, the only team North Carolina has to worry about that's on their side is either Virginia Tech or Miami, and North Carolina waxed Miami this year.
Alabama's 2, Oklahoma 3, Georgia 4.
Now that's a team that can probably. I'll get to that in a minute. You go ahead.
Ohio State 5. Texas A&M 6, who beat Carolina. Carolina 7 with 4 losses. Iowa State 8, USC 9,
USC's too high.
Indiana 10, Cincinnati 11, Iowa 12. You notice anybody I haven't said yet?
Coastal.
No, I mean, come on. Oregon 13, Washington 14, number 15, the Notre Dame Fighting
That's
Irish.
what I was thinking the whole time.
They beat Clemson this year,
Yeah.
and because they got rolled
twice.
they
2
got them,
weeks in a
they
row.
got them all the way down at 15. That's how I know.
Well, I will say this too. They're not. Ian Book will not be back. Yeah, I think pretty sure Ian Book was a senior and he's done there.
Yeah, they got
So they'll have a new
Jack Cullen.
quarterback. It's going to be tough for those teams that are going through quarterback changes. That's why I was kind of alluding to when you said Georgia sitting at 4. I was getting ready to say they might be national championship contenders because Alabama will be going into a quarterback change. Clemson will be going into a quarterback change. Ohio State will be going into a quarterback change.
Coastal's 23
The
and
only
Miami
one
25.
that is not going through a quarterback change is Georgia because JT Daniels is coming back.
Okay.
And so if you look, because see, I don't really know, because Kyle Trask is leaving Florida too. I don't know how Florida's going to be next year. But if you look at the makeup of the SEC, really one of the top schools that's going to have their quarterback back is Georgia. And the quarterback obviously can make or break a team. If you don't have it, that was my problem with Jake Fromm for years with Georgia. Good college quarterback, not a game breaker. At least with JT Daniels, we kind of have that. So we'll see how Georgia does next year. And I think next year could be one of the years that I'm not going to say, because the SEC, if I'm not mistaken, has won like 15 out of the last 20 national championships. I think the SEC will be there again. But I think this could be one of the few years that it's not Alabama. It's the best chance. If you were the college, but think about it though. If you're a college football fan,
or they got somebody on the roster.
There was a freshman that they thought was supposed to come in and start this year, but Mac Jones beat him out.
Okay.
So he will have been in the system for 1 year, but he didn't play a game last year.
Okay.
So he will be fresh. He'll be fresh. Now, whether or not he's a true stud, I don't know. That's what we'll have to see. But if you're a college football fan, even if you hate the SEC, you're rooting for Georgia to be the team that knocks off Alabama.
So
at least, and if you're the same and you don't like the ACC, you're hoping that North Carolina is as dangerous as they could be and can knock Clemson off, because then you're going to start getting something that you haven't had, and that's parity.
I'm going to get to
Unless
that's our early rankings.
Unless they still with the committee say, well, a 1-loss Alabama and a 1-loss Clemson should still get in.
So let's mock draft for a minute here.
Let's do it. I love mock drafts. I watched the whole first round mock draft from Todd McShay.
I just want to talk about our locals and some news and notes. And so you're talking.
I think Todd, and I know you said local. I think Todd McShay had Caleb Farley going in the teens.
So I've got one right here that says 6, no 5th, no 6th to the Eagles.
That'd be a good pick.
And I've got one, and I've got him anywhere from 6th to like 20th. And
but regardless, he's first round
for the you folks not around from here. He's he's a local product. This one's got 8th to the Panthers. Where do you guys pick?
We picked 19th.
Oh, 19th. Ugh, I don't know if he's falling to y'all.
Whoa.
No, I don't think we. Like I said, our defense is pretty stout. I don't think
I was
we
gonna
need
say
him
put him on
anyways.
y'all's defense, dude. I'm telling you, I'm just year after year, you don't want to be picking the fourth quarterback, not one that looks like Mac Jones in the first round.
Fine.
You just lost Dwayne Haskins. I mean,
Listen,
pick your
Josh
vet.
Allen was the third quarterback taken, and
You got
Lamar
a veteran
Jackson
on
was
one
the
leg.
fourth.
You got a veteran on one leg who went 5-1.
He's not. He's
What I'm-
questionable
what
about
I'm saying
what he's
is,
doing with his career.
if you find a veteran with two legs, Hunter,
oh, I know.
with y'all's defense, quit worrying. Look, you like college football so much, you're so enamored with these young guys.
No. I have said this from the
Get you a
beginning.
man.
If
Get you a grown
if
man.
there is a free agent who is worth a
Yeah.
shit
Okay.
available, like maybe the Raiders move off Derek Carr.
Cam Newton.
No, I said worth a shit. Okay, maybe the Raiders move off Derek Carr. I would take Derek Carr in Washington.
Would you take him or Mariota, either one?
I would take Marcus Mariota. But here's the thing. I would only give them a Teddy Bridgewater type contract.
Oh, yeah.
If I'm not sold on any of these guys coming out of college. Now, what I'm still trying to do is I'm giving the house up for Deshaun Watson if the Texans do move off of him. I am trying my hardest because if Deshaun Watson comes in with this defense, we're already the best team in the NFC East, and it's not even close. It's not even close because Dallas has defensive problems. Philadelphia fired their head coach after winning a Super Bowl 3 years ago.
I'm so dumbfounded by that.
And
one,
then the
Hunter.
Giants, they're slowly becoming a team. But as of right now, all I'm saying is if we get Deshaun Watson, Washington would be the best team in the NFC East.
I mean, honestly,
If not a top 5 team in the NFC.
Listen, y'all get Deshaun Watson, y'all gonna be dangerous. What what do you have to do to keep your job? Like the people like this year were calling for Orgeron to lose his job.
Yeah, after just winning the championship last
Doug
year.
Peterson delivers the only Philadelphia. There's no love there, is there? How about the city of brotherly love? You win the Super Bowl as the quarterback, we kick you out 2 weeks later, and then you win the Super Bowl as a coach 2 years later.
You want to
you're
know
gone
what
now.
was probably the straw that broke the camel's back? That final game. With what he did pulling Jalen Hurts and putting in a third-string quarterback. Honestly, that is probably what it was. Because, I was listening to a lot of ex-players talk about it, and they said, look, if you were just going to be straight up about it and say you wanted to just give him playing time, then you should have said it. Not in the post-game press conference say, I was still trying to win the game, and I wanted to give him some reps. Like, a lot of the ex-players I've heard, they said, if I was a player in that locker room, I couldn't trust Doug Peterson then. That he's always committed to going for the win. And I think another thing that they have a problem with is Doug Peterson, of course, Carson Wentz was struggling this year, but the fact that Carson Wentz said that he wants out, I think that's what sent it. They said, we got to pick one. Are we picking
Well, they
the
got
one?
to pay the one $100 million.
I'm about to say, are we picking the one that we've got hundreds of millions of dollars in Carson Wentz?
Well,
and
who
that we
drafted Hurts?
They both, the same general manager that's there drafted Carson Wentz and Jalen Hurts. I don't know what's happening in Philadelphia. I don't know. It's not a good spot unless they can. If they can't mend things with Carson Wentz but won't move off of him, that place is going to get toxic.
So, do you think Houston's going to move Watson?
They've already said they don't want to, but you got to look at it this way. What good is it going to do if he's just sitting there not playing for you? Like if he basically sits out like how Zeke did, except not just preseason and OTAs, actual games, because he's just sick and tired of what you're doing.
So here's what says.
To me, I would try and get as much value as I could for Deshaun Watson then.
Right. Possible trade options.
I'd call Jacksonville.
If right, or Miami. I mean, Miami's been the talk so far.
Yeah.
Well, what about this, Hunter? You ready? Deshaun Watson to Miami for Tua and whatever.
The third pick.
I don't even care. Here's where I want to go to next though. Tua to Houston with Nick Saban.
No.
Put your money where your mouth is, Mr. Saban, and your players.
I know
Come
what
to the
you're
NFL
saying.
with the
I know
Alabama
what you're
quarterback
saying,
that
but
you
Nick
replaced
won't do
Jalen
it.
Hurts with.
But Nick won't do it. Nick won't do it. He's too. The thing is he's comfortable right now.
Hey, Nick, we'll give you $20 million.
He's comfortable. He's not going to leave where he's comfortable.
$20 million, he'll be there in 5 minutes.
I don't know about that. Just think, what's he going to do when he starts losing?
Count his money.
Then it's going to look bad on his illustrious resume.
Which college?
Two NFL failures.
He'll come back to another college, and
Power.
And power. He ain't gonna come back to NC State. He'll come back to, I don't know. Trying to think of.
Here's the thing that you have to watch for too with Alabama next year. Steve Sarkisian, their offensive coordinator, will not be there next year. He has taken the Texas job.
I was about to say, what if Saban goes to Texas? That would really think about it. He's not going to go to another SEC school.
No, I think Nick Saban, the best thing, if he was ever going to leave and try to go revitalize somebody, I think he would go to Southern Cal in California.
I was going to say Southern Cal's one. What about Notre Dame?
They'd have to move off Brian Kelly, but
like they wouldn't.
For Nick Saban.
Listen, I mean this in the nicest way possible, trying not to hurt nobody's feelings. But it's a little bit harder to get into Notre Dame than it is Alabama.
That's true,
probably
too.
for some of these athletes.
That's true, too.
And I mean that in the nicest way, but I know when a lot of these athletes go to school, the books is not their priority.
So Hunter, you're talking about Mac Jones, and to me, in first round, I'd rather pick a stud player, stud defender.
Listen,
and then look,
if he's available, I'd want Kyle Pitts.
So here's trading options: Watson, Garoppolo, Stafford, Wentz, Ryan, Darnold. Here are free agent options: Prescott, Phillip Rivers, Jacoby Brissett, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Jameis Winston, Andy Dalton, Mitchell Trubisky. So there's some ideas to even think to look at. This says the wild card. Could a team possibly pull off an Aaron Rodgers trade?
Does he really want out of Green Bay, though?
I think he wants to stay there.
I think Aaron has a little bit of loyalty in him to where he would like to finish his career off in Green Bay. But I'm going to tell you what, he's going to start raising some eyebrows if they don't make the Super Bowl this year or next year.
So I like this.
He's getting older.
I like this mock draft, Hunter. It doesn't have quarterbacks at the top of the draft, so it's giving you a kind of a real look at possible like players by position. So one, of course, is Lawrence. It's looking more and more like his coach is going to be
Urban
Meyer. He's not going to pick. Now, I just watched the college football playoffs. Should I not pick Mac Jones first, Justin Fields second, Trevor Lawrence third?
No.
Trevor Lawrence won't do that. He wants to go number one, no doubt.
He wants to go number one, no doubt, but you want to know why players want to go number one, no doubt? Because there's a couple $1 million difference between going 1 and 2.
So 2 with the Jets, it's got Sewell from Oregon, the offensive lineman.
Yeah, that's what Todd McShay had.
Dolphins.
But if that's the case, that means that they're committed to Sam Darnold.
Right.
They would get him help.
Dolphins at 3. The smart thing is, and you've seen it in Washington, is you've got to give your guy a chance if you draft him.
You got to try.
Because if it fails, it puts you back 2 or 3 years.
I think they picked Darnold at 3.
Honestly, Hunter, if one team in the NFC East was good this year, y'all wouldn't be in the playoffs. We wouldn't be talking about a lot of this.
Oh, I know this.
So you've got to look at it from that perspective as opposed, like, say, what if Dallas was 11-5 this year? It wouldn't have mattered. So you got to look at that perspective, like, where do we go from that? And you got to protect your picks. Dolphins at 3, Jamar Chase, LSU, not Devontae Smith.
I've heard a lot of people. When I was listening to Todd McShay talk about it, and don't get me wrong, the year prior, a lot of people were saying Jamar Chase was actually better than Justin Jefferson, and Justin Jefferson set the wide receiver record this year for a rookie.
I mean,
and they
Chase
both came from LSU.
3 player.
Well, if you do that, they have Devontae Parker at the wideout position.
That's Calvin Johnson, Terrell Owens, Randy Moss.
Oh,
I know those guys didn't go that high, or Calvin, I think he did. But again, if you're drafting a wide receiver at 3, that's what you're expecting, are you not?
You're expecting a game breaker.
Number one, right now.
You're expecting a game breaker. It's either that or because you look at where Miami is, like, as a team-wise, really their only weakness is you don't really know what you have in Tua yet, and the wide receiver position. Their running back you could probably try and bolster that up too, but their defense is solid. But are you really going to take a running back or a wide receiver at 3?
Right.
Or are you going to take the quarterback? Now, if they trade and get Deshaun Watson and somehow don't have to give up that 3 pick, I think this pick is golden, getting him a stud wide receiver to throw to. Because that's what he had when he had Hopkins at one point. To me, I think Jamar Chase or Devontae Smith could go right there. If you get Devontae Smith, you get Tua's old running buddy. Maybe you think that'll help camaraderie, and maybe you think that'll help bring out the best in Tua. But I think at 3, you could see Devontae Smith or Jamar Chase.
Would they not be better off if they're wanting a receiver than trading that 3 back to somebody want one of those quarterbacks?
Maybe
if they can.
Maybe if they think, if they think, though, that those two are game breakers compared to everybody else, you might just think about staying there. Because you can't trade back too far, because Devontae Smith and Jamar Chase, they are going to help a lot of teams that need a wide receiver. Absolutely.
So Falcons got.
I'll tell you what, if I was Miami and I really wanted a wide receiver, I'm calling Atlanta and seeing what they want for Julio.
Okay.
Julio's not. It seems like he's just not committed to Atlanta anymore. It seems like the past few years he just keeps missing more and more games with injuries.
They've got Falcons at the 4 spot picking a defensive end from Miami, Russo.
They do need defense.
Five's got Bengals picking inside linebacker from Penn State, Micah Parsons.
I've seen some people say they would maybe go lineman there to try and protect Burrow. He was on pace for almost 60 sacks last year.
6, they've got Caleb Farley, says big cornerback, 6'2", 207, who's blessed with incredible speed, 4'3", 40, and length, 6 career interceptions.
Who's at 6?
I forgot who that said. Eagles.
They could use that. Him on one side, Darius Slay on the other.
The Eagles only intercepted 8 passes in 16 games and allowed the 7th worst pass yards per attempt in the league.
I'll say this, as a Washington fan, I don't want to see him. I would hate for the Eagles to pick him there because we need a quarterback.
7 lines, Justin Fields.
No, Justin Fields. I wish somebody would draft like Falcons would draft him.
Well, let's back that up. You're number 4. You're a Falcons fan. I forgot about that. Who you want?
Justin Fields.
You want the quarterback?
Are you done with Matt Ryan?
Matt Ryan's trash.
He's your MVP, Tanner.
He's an MVP, but he hasn't played good at all in the past few years.
Tanner. Don't hate on Matt Ryan.
Matt Ryan struggled early this year. He really did.
That's what I'm saying.
But it seemed that towards the end of the year, he tried to catch on. The problem is, and don't get me wrong, if Atlanta wants to move off of him, that's fine. But if I'm not mistaken, they have to eat some of that money that they owe him next year.
CBS has got Zach Wilson still in the 4th spot.
I've seen a lot of people say Atlanta might be drafting Zach Wilson.
From BYU.
Either Justin Fields or like somebody for O-line because they need some O-line too.
Hunter, this one did have Miami picking Devontae Smith at 3. Or whoever ends up there. Caleb Farley. So I'm sitting at 6. I'm just going to go, a couple at a time. I got like 3 basically mocks up at once.
Yeah.
At 7, Detroit, Micah Parsons, Jalen Waddle, Jamar Chase, and Justin Fields. 4 completely different players across the board.
I noticed 2 of those, if I'm not mistaken. One of them's a wide receiver and Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
That would work if Stafford's fine being in Detroit still. Yeah. To me, I've said this, if Detroit could hire Eric Bieniemy, they're already set, especially if they get a wide receiver. Because you've got a possible what looks to be a future Hall of Famer in Matt Stafford, numbers-wise. You got a good running back behind him in DeAndre Swift, and you've got decent wide receivers around him, but Jamar Chase would make a big difference. And Eric Bieniemy is the one that's the offensive coordinator for the Chiefs, so he's got Mahomes and everybody all around him. He could come in there and be really good for Detroit scoring-wise, but the problem has been defense.
All right, Panthers. Kyle Pitts.
God, that's a good player.
Caleb Farley.
That's a good player.
Trey Lance. 2 out of 3 CBSs have Trey Lance going to the Panthers.
I don't know what everybody sees in Trey Lance because
I'll tell you what.
They probably see that he's like 6'4" or something.
That's what I was about to say. That's exactly what
he's probably
we talked about that, man.
They look at what happened with Josh Allen and can say if we can work with him.
6'4", 225.
Yeah. And he's mobile too. He
looks like Dante Culpepper out there.
Listen, when I heard Todd McShay in his first
42 touchdowns, no picks. Was that last year?
No, he only played 1 game last year.
Was that this year?
No. Or this year.
Or was that high school?
I don't know what that number is. Because I promise you, North Dakota State only played 1 game this year, and it was supposed to be his his showcase game, so people could at least have tape on him from that game. Todd McShay said he might not be ready to play immediately. And so I'm sitting here saying, what the hell would we take him in the first round for?
Last year, 67%, 28 touchdowns, no picks. So that was last year's.
Listen, he might be a hell of a talent. I'm just saying.
Ooh. You might want him to follow Washington, Hunter.
We've seen this. We just saw it with Carson Wentz, North Dakota State.
That might be Steve McNair.
Listen, I don't know.
Steve McNair's MVP.
I'm going to tell you what's going to make the difference. And I know a lot of people say, how does that make a difference? When I sit down and watch these guys at the combine, it really is.
Yeah.
It'll make a difference for me on which one I think is better. And then I'll get a little bit more in-depth analysis. And I think that's what makes it so difficult whenever you say Trey Lance, and for me to think about it is because I don't just sit down and watch North Dakota State games. I've watched Trevor Lawrence all year. I've watched Justin Fields all year. I've watched Zach Wilson and Mac Jones and Kyle Trask out of Florida. Trey Lance played one game this year as a showcase game, and even the years prior, North Dakota State is not just, an ESPN draw.
Right.
It's just tough for me to want to take him over Mac Jones and what he just went on a run with.
I still ain't got anything that's got Mac Jones listed yet.
Oh, he won't go in the top 10. That's why I'm saying
I'm at like 15 right now.
like
Some of these.
Trey Lance, I get going that high maybe, but that's why I'm saying for at least Washington, Mac Jones will be there. He will be there
I
late.
think so too. Here's some other ones to look at. I'm just falling down. I got Zach Wilson as far as 4 and then down to 15. I got Patriots at 15 on this one.
It's going to just probably come down to, need. And if somebody trades up, possibly.
All right, so the other one I want to read.
But I'll go back to the Panthers, though, with them saying Trey Lance. That's questionable. I'll tell you what, when you said Kyle Pitts, it made my heart drop because if he's available at Washington, I'm not going to lie. If you want to ride and go get a veteran to ride with Heineke just as a stopgap, I want Kyle Pitts. I want Kyle Pitts because our wide receiver.
I don't think he's even first round.
Our wide receiver tight end is
so let me read you
not
Lance.
that strong. It's decent, but
Let me read you Trey Lance's
bio,
whatever it is. 67 career completion percentage and elite decision making, 0 interceptions last year will be a proactive move for Washington. This has you guys drafted.
Mm-hmm.
Lance has played less than 20 games and essentially set out the 2020 season, just so there are quarterback nuances he needs to develop and refine. However, how often does a playoff team get a chance to draft a potential franchise quarterback without sacrificing future picks on a free agent? So that's that on him.
I understand that
That's
too.
got
But
Kyle Trask at 22.
you know what
is
I've
where that's
seen
got.
though? It's like we just drafted a player 2 or 3 years ago, a guy that didn't have a lot of starts in college, and guess what happened? We cut him. That was Dwayne. He only played like one true full season, and they just said he's played less than 20 games.
Yeah.
I just have a question mark about that.
All right, so let me.
Who else did they say? What were the other ones saying? Did they all say getting Trey Lance?
For you guys know, Mac Jones, J.C. Horn, Trask fell to 22 in some of these. They're all over the place. Once you get to 15 to 25, they're all over the place.
Yeah.
21's Indy, 22's Tennessee.
Mm.
According to
I don't
this.
know.
All right, a couple of local kids before we finish up. Talk about the NFL for today. They've got Sage at 107 overall.
Mm-hmm.
So that's mid 4th round, right? Because you got 32 in each round, 96, and it'll be 4th round. So they got Sage looking at 4th round right now, 17th overall wide receiver. We'll go out to. Is he outside linebacker, Chaz?
I thought he was inside, but I don't know.
Let's see what he's
just going to depend.
It doesn't show an outside. Just got linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
He's 80th overall, 7th on the board, defensive of
So
linebacker.
third round, about third round.
For him is Holyfield going to the draft this year?
No.
No. Okay.
He's
staying to play with Jack 1 year.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a junior, I think.
Okay.
now.
I didn't know if they had him on anything. So dude, I'm looking at Trey Lance stuff, Hunter.
He won't.
I haven't seen him play, but you throw 28 touchdowns and 0 picks.
I know.
You know, whoever
it's
you're
tough
playing,
not to.
it's tough not to throw a pick. Like a receiver runs the wrong route, a guy just makes an outstanding play. You don't see somebody like 28-0 is just woo. That's tough. I know again you're not playing people, but there's been plenty of guys that's come out of that division of football. Mm-hmm. And South Dakota State is a national championship winning program. So
Multiple times.
This isn't.
I'm just saying it's just one of those things where I don't really know how, because that was the knock that they had on Mitch Trubisky as well when he was coming out of North Carolina. It was the fact that he didn't play a lot.
Well, his problem was he came out of North Carolina.
Well, not just that. I'm just
that.
saying. They said he. I think he had less than 25 starts.
He didn't start much.
He didn't start much because he only had one full season of being a quarterback. And so we're talking about a guy that had less than 20 starts, and I know obviously that shows he's got great decision making, but I'm just saying, I don't know. Mac Jones the same way though. You can say the same thing. He's got less than 20 starts because he just played this full season and was the backup to Tua the whole time. But
I just don't want teams to waste their picks and when they could be. It's just when you draft a quarterback, you better know.
Say this though.
You better know.
We're in a rare spot. Washington is. Because technically, if you look up and down Washington's roster, we're really a quarterback away from being, a playoff team year in and year out. The way the defense is built.
I think I need another running back.
We've got young wide receivers. I like our running backs, but we could get another one in a later round, just like all the other teams do with running backs. So we're one of the strange ones. We are like
I was trying to get
the NFC East version of Chicago. The Bears, really, if they had a great quarterback, they'd be a very good team. They got decent wide receivers, good tight ends. They got a good running back in Montgomery, and they're a strong defensive team.
So you don't want none of their quarterbacks?
No, I don't want Mitch Trubisky. I don't. I want somebody that can push the ball downfield and is not afraid to do it.
I don't know what level of players that I have on this list. I was trying to find the top kickers, so I was going to see who the Browns needed to pick.
They got pick kicker first round.
Sebastian Janikowski
kicker first round
may have been the greatest draft pick in NFL history. Think about it. With the risk you have to take to pick, y'all missed on quarterback.
I know.
They hit a kicker who played, 15, 20 years? And can kick it from 60?
Yeah.
Like, it works. And people laugh at me. I honestly think the Janikowski pick may have been one of the greatest picks in NFL history, just by pure. Montana went fourth round, Brady sixth, and we're Janikowski first round. Nailed it. They nailed it. See, Hunter, that nailed the pick. And you don't have to worry about your team. You need players.
I think Washington should get a name first before they actually think they can win a Super Bowl.
Hush. You hush. They got to figure that shit out on their own.
Yeah, I've got it on. I'll show Tanner in a little bit. We'll talk. We'll get into that. So the Carolina's got 2 running backs in the top 113 players. It's got on that. Etienne's first. Najee Harris second on the list of running backs. They've got them 21st and 44th on the board. So wherever you think, first, only really 2 players that may be picked in the first round: Etienne and Harris. Wide receivers though, they got quite a bit on those. They got 5. Besides Chase Smith, of course, Waddle, Rondale Moore, Purdue, and Bateman from Minnesota is who they have on the list. All right, Hunter.
Yes.
Let's move on to NFL.
Wild card
Super
weekend.
Super wild card weekend. Super. Did you miss that part? It's
Super. Okay, I know. Extra game. Super. Yeah. Super wild card weekend.
Oh, this is
the best part about it was Nickelodeon.
Did you watch it?
No, I
did not.
I didn't. I watched it on Amazon Prime because you could watch it multiple ways, but it was available on Nickelodeon. And I have seen some of the screenshots of whenever they would score a touchdown, they would have like a graphic of slime machines going off. I thought it was the funniest part was someone tweeted and said, "How are you gonna miss a field goal with SpongeBob between the uprights?" I was just like, yeah, I don't really know if that's a good look. You missing that kind of shot, but
hey, I told you before with
how long
with CGI and graphics, we have no idea what we're watching is real.
Have they always done Nickelodeon games? I know they did that years ago.
No, they just
long time ago they did.
No,
but I don't know who they got in a contract with. Nick must have been like, damn, we need something to watch right now because the cartoons are trash. So we're gonna let's just put this football game on here.
The cartoons are
and
trash.
let's put SpongeBob in the uprights.
Yeah, oh my God! And what was it? They showed who was it that they showed? I think they showed it was Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara's picture, and they were like best buddies, and then they put beside the picture SpongeBob and Patrick. And I was like, oh my God,
That's awesome.
That's
awesome.
I think Nick should do this at least for the next 10 years.
You know what Nick should do?
Huh.
All right, go with me here.
Mm-hmm.
Slime Zone channel.
Like Red Zone Channel,
Yeah.
Slime Zone
That
Channel.
would make it entertaining.
Well, it probably would get kids a little bit more interested in
Yeah.
watching the football game.
Yeah, absolutely. Slime Zone.
And then what was they had instead of the MVP, it was like the NVP, the Nickelodeon VP. Guess who won it?
Hey,
Mitch Trubisky.
Mr. All right.
Or you could spin it and say not valuable player.
All right.
No, he
yeah.
doesn't deserve
Here's
it.
possible Texans trades. Dolphins.
Uh-huh.
The deal would send quarterback Tua plus this year's 3 and number 50 picks to the Texans for Watson. For Washington, it doesn't say anything other than Ron Rivera might want him to. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you
Got
got
to break that one down there,
Dang,
Fowler.
wow. You really looked into that.
The other one broke down how many picks, what it would take, and then the Washington's yeah, they just
They
Team-
might be
they're
interested
interested.
because we're kind of a quarterback away. So
Jeez. There's Dolphins, Patriots, Jets.
I'm glad that those guys have jobs at ESPN and whatnot.
So our picks this weekend were varied.
They were over.
You and Tom went 4-3. The rest of us went 3-4. I started out hot and then just fell off a cliff. I got the Saints, Bills, and Bucks right. Did not get the Seahawks right. I thought the Seahawks would win at home. That's one thing without fans, Hunter.
Yeah.
I think that may have affected it. Then they fire their offensive coordinator.
Yeah. Was that yesterday or today?
Yeah.
It's dumb. Schottenheimer.
Tennessee lost at home. I thought they would hold off Baltimore on that one, and then Pittsburgh.
That game was closer than I thought it was going to be.
So I thought Tennessee was going to win, and then Pittsburgh. I think the whole world was shocked by the game with the Browns Sunday night, and we're going to talk more about that in a little bit. Go Dogs! But I picked Pittsburgh because Hunter, who wins without a coach? And obviously,
Right.
you know what we found out? That the wide receivers are more valuable than the coaches are. Because a couple weeks ago they didn't play with wide receivers,
And
got
they
beat by the
lost.
Jets.
Yeah.
Then without the coaches, they beat the Steelers.
Right.
I mean, you ain't got nobody to throw
But the
to.
Jets did beat the Steelers too.
I'll say this. They did. So did Washington.
Weird.
Washington was the one that started that downward spiral. They were 11-0 going into that game, and Washington picked
What did y'all
apart-
expose?
We exposed their inability to run the ball, and really that their wide receivers are not that great.
I pointed that out. If honestly, if the coaches were there, I would have picked Cleveland. But I was like, I don't think they can win.
I didn't pick. Yeah, I didn't pick Cleveland.
I don't
to
think
win.
they can do it.
And I sat there Saturday and I said, I got.
And their
I'm
top
gonna
two
say it one
corners are
way.
out.
Yeah, I said
They're back this week, though.
I've only got something simple to say about this game. If you don't have a head coach, you're not going to win. So
Right.
And guess what? They proved me wrong.
Hey,
If you don't
wrong,
have a head
Hunter.
coach, ladies
We
and
don't need
gentlemen,
that.
If you don't have a head coach, ladies and gentlemen, you can win.
So maybe it wasn't Nick Saban's fault. It was because he didn't have good enough wide receivers. If you put two, you do the math, right? Does that calculus work?
No.
Neither one of y'all can do any calculus, and you both told me that calculus was wrong.
Yeah,
That's all I have to
doesn't
say
work.
about that one.
Yeah, I don't care.
That's all I have to say about that one.
Regardless, I'm just saying.
Well, Denzel Ward's back this week.
I'm just saying. I think it might be time for Pittsburgh to look inward and think about a future and which direction they're trying to go. Because I know you disagreed with me, but I think Ben's days are numbered in Pittsburgh. You don't want to say
He threw some sick passes to his wide receivers.
on a prevent defense where they
He
gave him
threw-
everything underneath. He threw 60 plus
he threw some
times.
sick passes.
No. I watched his feet,
that
and they
went through-
barely moved on every throw.
That
And eventually,
he's been doing
gonna
that
have
for 15 years.
No,
Honestly, Hunter, he still throws the ball fine. The passes what I'm referring to, he threw 3 or 4 that went right through receivers' hands. And did you see one of them? I almost pissed myself laughing. The one that went through the tight end's ear hole. Did you see that one in the end
Yeah, I
zone?
did.
Oh my God, the heat on that ball! It went past his ear, and you could just tell I've been there before, and you're like, I think I heard it.
this is why I
But it
think
went like right.
this
through.
is why I think Pittsburgh needs to
My
go
man's
ahead and
hand.
start moving off of Ben.
Oh God.
Ben is not Drew.
The
and
running
Brent-
game was last.
Ben is
Hunter.
not Ben is not Drew Brees. Ben is not Tom Brady. And both of them have taken care of their bodies excellently going into their 40s. Big Ben still looks like on the weekend he chugs a 6-pack. Maybe a 12-pack whenever he's done. Eventually, all that is going to go away from him, and his mobility is already starting to go away from him. That's what he was always good at doing, was extending the play and making plays outside of the pocket because nobody could bring him down. That was what's dangerous. So
Are you saying
and
they
Josh
lost
Allen.
the game because he was too fat to jump on that fumble in the first play
No,
of the
I'm
game?
saying they lost the game because he went ahead and threw 4 picks.
Hunter, let's slow down.
What am I saying? Is it not true that they lost the game because he threw 4 picks?
No.
Yes.
That's a lie.
No.
It was a blowout at halftime.
Yeah.
It was 35-10.
Okay, let's walk it back a little bit.
He had 3 picks at that time.
Okay, the first one, the first touchdown.
Oh, I know. That was a
That's on the
Pouncey's
center.
mistake.
All right, if you take that away, it's a 4-point game.
Last time I checked, he threw 2 picks. And the halftime score was what?
No, I'm saying overall, they only lost by 11.
Right.
If you take that 7 off and they just punt on that series, we have
Right.
a 4-point game.
Yeah.
Not a blowout.
But I told you what the defense was doing. They
So-
were giving him everything underneath, so that's why he had so many yards and was eventually able to just get down there and throw a touchdown.
So the quarterback had 500 yards, 4 touchdowns, completed 47 passes,
Next year,
and the running backs averaged 3 yards a carry, and you're blaming the quarterback.
yes,
I
4
can't-
turnovers.
I can't do this.
4 turnovers.
I understand.
4 picks.
We talked earlier and I said earlier that it's about the picks and turnovers, but also again, Hunter, if they're sitting back in the prevent, you're going to throw some picks too, trying to come back from 20. So there's a lot of things to look at in this game. Obviously, the first thing sucked. The picks were definitely.
They were bad picks. Like they weren't like
You're right.
Yeah,
the
they were
picks
bad.
weren't like great at all. Like
Because
I'm not
people are
saying-
like, "What do you mean it's good to throw a pick?" Like, just
Didn't
hit
one
us
of them
with it hitting
didn't
off
one
a
of them go?
finger.
One of them went off a receiver.
I think maybe one of them did, but one of them was right to that linebacker. He was just sitting there.
Right, that one was
That's
that's the
the
one where you're
whatever.
that's the one where you're sitting there, and that when they showed the view from behind and playing, the ones you hate the most are those linebackers.
They're just right there.
Those jerks get in like he probably didn't even. Not only did he didn't see him, he thought he'd already moved somewhere else. And you got to think Cleveland was in white uniforms too. And I'm not blaming uniforms. I'm just talking as looking when you're looking across the field and you're moving your eyes. White's just a natural color. It may be somebody or somebody not, maybe a referee or whatever. But he progressed from right to left on that. When he come left, guy was open, except there was a linebacker underneath. And when you do that, I've thrown passes, Hunter. I thought a guy was wide the F open. And then all you see is just linebacker hands come up. You're like, that joker. And they get you. And
It's
that
just-
one, he got on that one.
but
The
I'll
other
say
two
this.
weren't good.
I'm saying
I don't think he was throwing bad passes.
no. I
though.
think it's. There's nothing wrong though with me saying it might be time for Pittsburgh to start looking for Ben's replacement. I'm not saying
He's
it has
on the
to
roster, ain't he?
It ain't Mason Rudolph. No, it is not Mason Rudolph.
Oh, no.
I'm just saying. I'm not saying it's next year, but it's coming because
All right.
it'll be a drop off. He is in his late what is he 38 almost 37 38
Well,
because he was the same. He was drafted the same year that Phillip Rivers, Eli
Right.
Manning were drafted.
So they got a top 5 defense. They just have no running game. You can't have the worst running game in the NFL and then expect to win the playoffs. Nick Chubb is just continues to be outstanding.
I think Nick Chubb established this weekend that he is the best running back in the NFL.
I'm glad you keep.
I
I'm glad you said
know,
that.
I know. Derrick Henry is an animal, but I just saw him rush for like 24 yards against the Ravens defense in the playoffs.
Well, see, a
And
running back.
Dalvin Cook is very good too in Minnesota. He's very good.
I like Cook.
But if we're talking,
Cook.
if we're talking at just a pure, you're handing the ball off to the guy behind you, and he's gonna get me the most yards. It's Nick Chubb,
So this is kind
and
of
he showed he can catch the ball too this weekend.
so Chubb to me, I like to call him. I'm saying this as a combo. Him and Kareem might be as good as Bo Jackson, Marcus Allen. It's how far back we can go, but neither one of them run like those two. Marcus Allen was tall and lanky and
Right.
fast.
You almost have to go that far back when you talk running back duos because for a lot of times they don't really look at running back by committees anymore.
Right.
For the longest time they still went by this is our guy.
Right.
The other guy's he's nowhere near his caliber.
But
But
in the last few years, they've kind of tried to go back to that with a running back and like a receiving back.
well,
So,
that's
like
what
for Cleveland-
Belichick's had a lot of success with
Right.
with the running back by committee.
So Cleveland's got Chubb and Kareem, and what you're talking about, Hunter, and what you see is like with Chubb and as compared to Derrick Henry. So
Nick Chubb's
Henry,
got breakaway speed.
if you take Henry's lanes away, he doesn't go anywhere, right? He's not shaking anybody
He's
in the
not
backfield.
shifty.
He's not beating you to
He's just huge.
He's not beating you to the edge, right? So if a good defense will take your lanes away and end that, and that's when you get games from Henry, it's 24 yards or 30 yards and stuff. So Barry Sanders used to do this a lot. Is that he'd have a game 170, 80 yards when the lanes are wide open, his guys are blocking, you can't touch him. He's got his lanes. As soon as you shut them lanes off in the backfield, now all of a sudden Barry Sanders also has the most carries for negative yards in NFL history. And people used to blame the line, but what he was doing, he was trying to shake people back there. And Henry don't shake people. So when I see Chubb run, I see a body of a close to Bo. But I see his style in a sense of an Emmett style, to where what you say, man, he's not the fastest, probably.
He's damn fast.
He ain't the most shakiest, though, but he's damn fast and he's damn shaky. Now Chubb's
balanced.
Chubb's probably harder, like muscle-wise, than Emmett to take down. Emmett's balance is just the most out.
People forget that Nick Chubb was
outstanding.
he was a sprinter in high school.
So what I want you to get when you look at Chubb and see, man, he's a 9.5 on everything. That's kind of what Emmett is and was. Is that when we reflect on this in 4 or 5 years, and people look back and say, "Well, was he as good as Derrick Henry?" Because that's going to be your argument, I guess. And you're like, "Well, you could take Henry out of a game." The only person to ever take Nick Chubb out of the game is the damn offensive coordinator. They drive me nuts with that.
I will say this: offensive coordinators going forward, whoever's with the Tennessee Titans, that's going to make or break really how high up on the rushing list Derrick Henry can get, because he's going to get the yards. The difference is, though, I don't really know how to put it, because he does some things great. But he also has intangibles that you can't teach. You can't teach him being almost 6'3", 6'4", and 225, 230 at that running back position. You can't. So I don't know how I'm trying to say this. I know what I'm trying to say. Derrick Henry might at the end of his career get the yards, but you would not say he's a better running back skill-wise than what Nick Chubb and a Dalvin Cook and a Christian McCaffrey and an Ezekiel Elliott are. You know what I'm saying? Like, Henry's just going to be so hard to stop, and the Titans' offensive coordinator and their play style is what is getting him all these yards, because he's touching the ball almost 25, 30 times a game sometimes.
I got him listed at 6'3" and 250.
So, that's it. He's 6'3", 250 at a running back.
Chaz is 6'3", 235.
And he's a linebacker.
He's supposed to hit.
He's supposed to hit him.
I'm telling you, he's supposed to knock that guy down.
But you know what I mean. It's the same thing when we talk basketball. They always talk about the forwards and the centers and being so good, but is it because they're so big? You wouldn't necessarily say that they're more talented than the guards.
The average guard is
more.
Way more talented.
And so that's what I'm trying to get at with Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry can run the ball damn good, but he's hard as hell to bring down. Nick Chubb, Dalvin Cook, Christian McCaffrey, even Alvin Kamara, all of them I think can do more than Derrick Henry can.
So Derrick Henry ranks 100th right now on the all-time rushing list at 5,800 yards, Hunter.
Yeah.
So this is to give you a perspective on what he'd have to do to catch Emmett.
I'm not saying he'll ever catch Emmett, but
he did this in 5 years, right?
Yeah. What is it? Has he been in the league 5 years?
5 years, yeah.
Yes.
He's 26 years old. In 5 years, he's got 5,800 yards. So times that by 3 would be
1,500,
17.4,
something like that.
You doing it? You doing it? You doing it? Math? Come on, intern! Quick, fast, quick!
We should have you print some of this stuff out on paper so we don't have to look it up.
What would it be?
17.4.
Yeah.
So if he had the same career he's had 3 times, he would still be behind Emmitt Smith.
It doesn't matter. He's still a beast.
No, I'm saying, like, that's how far he's got to go. Like,
I know.
People don't realize how many yards that actually
It's the same thing when you talk about Jerry Rice numbers. So it's the same thing when you bring those numbers up too. I think Derrick Henry at some point can get into the top 20 rushing yards if he continues and the offense is still styled around him like he is. But that's just because I think Derrick Henry could have an Adrian Peterson type career.
So Emmett
where
played 14 or 15 years.
Or like a Frank Gore career where you can just play long and still be able to run the ball. You might not always break out 100-yard games, but you'll just, the longevity. And that's what we make the argument, same thing with like LeBron James and all these guys when they talk numbers and scoring and points, rebounds. It's the same thing with football. You play 15 to 20 years, for God's sakes, you're going to have a lot of numbers.
Jerome
What was
Bettis,
it? Jerry Rice played 20 years. Drew Brees is going on almost 20 years, and he's the all-time passing leader in the NFL. Like, eventually, the numbers are great, but it starts to look like more of a longevity thing as well. Like, oh, well, you just play
a lot
longer.
of it is, yeah. 15 is about the most that guys play on. Like, there's not too many running backs at 15. Emmett's one of them.
The only reason
Walker
I would
Payton
think
is at
he
13.
wouldn't make it, the only reason I wouldn't
Frank
think
Gore's at 15.
Yeah, the only reason I would think Derrick Henry wouldn't make it is because of how big he is.
Right. I mean, you never know. The knees break down, all that other. So Frank Gore Hunter has played.
I think he never even said he might retire either.
I think he's going to. I think I honestly, and this is weird. I don't know. I don't think he wants to pass Walter Payton. I don't think he wants to, cause think about it. If he passes Payton, does that not delegitimize the numbers a little bit? Because Peyton's number, I know Emmett passed it, right, and blew by it.
Right.
But Emmett's also the all-time touchdown leader. 3 Super Bowls, MVP. Frank Gore's none of that.
Right.
Like rushing touchdowns, Emmett's got 164, 190 something total.
So you think all he wants to do is pass Sweetness?
I don't think he wants to.
Oh, you don't think he wants? So he would be fine where he's at.
I think he is. He passed Barry Sanders. He's at 1,600. I mean, if you pass Sweetness, you're just think if Emmett didn't, and you passed Walter Payton. Are you putting yourself, or you think
you're putting yourself in that echelon?
And I don't want to take anything away from Frank Gore, what he's done in his career to get 16,000 rushing yards.
I remember Frank Gore having great seasons with San Francisco,
but nobody ever thought that he's the best running back
when you
we've
talk
ever
about
had,
how we always talk about Mount Rushmore's, Frank Gore's not brought up
at no point.
It's just not.
Not even top. I don't know if it gets top 20 and brought
So
that
you think
up.
it's maybe more of a respect thing?
It might be, but it's also 15 years of playing running back and playing with the Jets, and
I don't know how his brain's not mushed, to be honest,
that
after
too.
all his hits. But
There's
his son's I think at Southern Miss playing football.
Is he?
Yeah, I don't know how good his son's going to be, if he can be drafted, but you wouldn't think Frank Gore's trying to pull a LeBron James thing here, are you? Where LeBron James said,
No.
I'd love to play until Bronny got drafted.
No. Derrick Henry's got 55 touchdowns. If he triples his career, he'll still be behind him in touchdowns.
But where would
very
he be?
close. Right behind him. Like,
He would be
very close.
second.
But he'd have to, like I said,
Yeah, I
he
know.
has to do this again and again and again and
for
again.
at least
again.
15 years.
Here's the thing that, people, when we're talking about Emmett, he had, Hunter, get ready with me? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 straight 1,000-yard seasons. So a lot of these guys on this list didn't even play 11 years.
Right.
Hit 11,000-yard seasons. Now let's talk about that, okay? If you want to back it up to 900-yard seasons, 14 of those. 14 900-yard seasons. The first year of his career, he had 900-something, then 11 straight, then 900-something then. So he almost had 13 straight 1,000-yard seasons. And you look at these guys, and you're just like, so Derrick Henry, just for example, he's had 3 straight. Him at 11.
He'd have to do it again next year. He'd have to, I think he could do it again next year. I think
he
Henry,
get 1,000 for the next 5 years. I think he get to
could.
10 years, but once you get to 8, 9, 10
Oh, yeah.
years,
Eventually.
that's when the body. You saw how much Adrian Peterson has slowed down. It's Hunter, when you're not that fast and these guys, once they figure out if he starts slowing down, they're gonna try to tee off on him because he's been stiff arming them so
It
bad.
also depends if he gets hurt or not too.
Right.
'cause
Oh,
he
yeah.
could
Those big
eventually get
legs,
hurt.
ankles. You're right.
And he
'Cause,
does take
you
a beating.
see what happened to Deshaun Watson. He tore both his ACLs, so he's gonna have knee problems for like his whole life.
He will at
He's
some point.
little and skinny too.
He will at some point. You're right.
All
He
right,
has.
Hunter, let's go down the list of these games real quick for the weekend
All right.
and give your expert opine.
I'll give my opine on him.
Colts at Bills. Bills win by 3. Hold on. To earn their first playoff victory in 25 years. And people like Hunter, when I tell you don't waste your draft picks, as a Washington fan, you should know not having any success in the past 30 years. That's one thing you got to nail. And they got Josh Allen, but Phillip Rivers almost pulls it off. 27-23, 3-point win at home for the Bills. That sets up them this week at home against the Ravens. So
I'm
Ravens
glad
in Baltimore.
I'm glad Phillip at least made it a competition because early it did look like it was going to be a blowout. Phillip was not playing his best ball. I hate to say it, but I do think we are seeing the end of Phillip Rivers.
They actually said Sunday during the broadcast he wouldn't be back in Indy this year.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
no, he's
why did they
not.
even bring him in for a year?
Because they thought they would just make a run, I guess.
Well, they did.
Either that. I really don't know. You know, you're not in the minds of what these GMs and people are thinking that they're spending the money. Because even then they had Jacoby Brissett right behind him that they were still paying. And I'm pretty sure both of them their contract is finished after this year.
Yeah, both of them are.
So that's why a lot of people are saying they might
do
look to
whatever.
the draft to draft the quarterback. I knew
You know
it
what
would
you know what the best thing for them to do this year?
sign a
Tank.
Well, you can, yeah, whatever. See who's going to be best next year if you want.
Like,
Here's the thing: you have no expectations. The only thing you would really be doing is wasting a top 5 offensive line and a top 10 defense.
okay,
But you'd have to do that only
so,
for a year.
So if it's not Phillip Rivers, then if you don't tank, if your defense is good
Well, you
enough
got-
and everything,
You know what they want to do?
what?
They want to trade for Carson Wentz because Frank
do they?
Reich. I don't know. There's no reports on that. But if it was available, they would do it because that Frank Reich was his offensive coordinator when they won the Super Bowl with the Eagles. And he was the one that was there when he was having his MVP type year, Carson Wentz. So I wouldn't be surprised because I don't think they really want to go young with such a good offensive line and such a good defense and weapons. I could see the Colts are like Washington. They picked 2 spots behind us or 1 spot. I can't quite remember, but it doesn't matter. They're like us. They got a good defense. Offensive line is pretty steady. You've got some weapons. You need a quarterback. And that's where we are. And so Colts played very good. I will stand by that was a fumble at the end of the game, but it didn't matter. The Colts didn't do anything with it anyways. So I'm just happy that the Bills won. And I think that the Bills can win this game against the Ravens because I think Josh Allen, and I know Lamar just won the MVP last year, but I think Josh Allen is better than Lamar Jackson. I really do. And definitely from a passing standpoint. From a running standpoint, I'm going to say this right now. Lamar Jackson could go down as the greatest rushing quarterback of all time, but that still doesn't mean it guarantees him a championship. So the problem is going to be the Ravens have a top 5 defense, and the Bills do not. And it showed that's why Indianapolis was able to come back and make it a 3-point game. And so this weekend, I don't know, but I'm just glad that the Bills won. Now, if you look at the Ravens
We'll do our
game,
predictions on Saturdays, folks, as
Right.
we do our reviews today.
But if
go
you-
over to the Ravens and Titans for the matchup as the 20-13.
it was ugly.
So this game will probably get ugly again too. Ravens and Bills, maybe. Who knows? It might be 50-40. But Lamar with 136 yards rushing, 179 passing, 1 pick. 1 pick kept Titans in the game there, and
And that was an unfortunate pick, too. If you look at it, that wide receiver just slips.
yeah.
He slips and falls right in front of Marcus Peters. Like, Marcus Peters, it was just like putting bread in a basket right there. He was just right there. If that wide receiver stays up, I don't think that's a pick, and I think it might have been an incomplete pass, but the drive's still alive there for Tannehill. But, I mean, that's really the name of the game, isn't it? Takeaways.
Yeah.
Turnovers, sometimes that's all it takes, and that's literally what it was. Score was what, 20-13 in front? Yeah, it was just
20-13.
touchdown. That's it. That's all it took. But I said Saturday because you asked and said, do either one of these teams have to throw the ball to win the game? And I said, yes, it's got to be Tennessee because they're the team that has the better wide receivers and the better throwing quarterback. Lamar might be a better overall quarterback, but Tannehill's the better throwing quarterback. And how did they score the first time? Tannehill threw a touchdown. Who did they shut down, Baltimore? Derrick Henry. So
It wasn't exactly a good passing day.
I don't
Neither
think either
quarterback
one
got
of
to
them.
200 yards. They both threw a pick. This is not an offensive game to be played.
I'm pretty sure that was the best game all year that Tennessee's defense had
I was about to say,
played.
shouldn't Tennessee's defense be happy though?
They played good.
And this is going again.
Didn't they have the worst defense going into the playoffs? Tennessee
of the playoff teams?
Yeah,
yes.
yes.
They were 24th, I think.
Mhm.
And again, Hunter, that's one of the things I want to point out about the Steelers and Big Ben. They go up 48 points, and he didn't play safety.
All right.
So again, I think the Steelers is. I think Ben give him 2 years and then let him do whatever. But I think he's okay there for a couple more years. Phillip Rivers, I don't know where he's going to go. If he's going to go somewhere else. Possibilities. Carolina.
Washington.
Yeah.
They're
Can
gonna
come home to Carolina, make a playoff run in Washington. Man, that might be your spot, dude. I mean,
the problem is we're gonna be just in the same. Well, and I don't really care about how we'll be. I'm thinking this more for Phillip. He's just gonna be in the same position that he was in Indianapolis. I think it'd probably just be a 1-year deal, and it's a prove it, or we just won't re-sign you. It's just gonna be. We'll see how far we can get this year, and then you're a journeyman again. And then you have to look at and say, well, does Phillip, with 9 damn kids and a wife, want to just pack up and move every year because he's becoming, essentially, that would be a Ryan Fitzpatrick role. You're going to come in and we're going to see how far we can go. I don't know if Phillip really wants to do that. Now, you bring up Carolina. I mean, I will say this, though, too. He is from Mississippi.
is he?
I think he's from one of the southern states.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't surprise me, and obviously you can say coming home to Carolina because he played at NC State, but him trying to just finish up somewhere down there.
Did you see the story on Coward wanting to draft him?
Bill Cowher?
The year they got Roethlisberger, they were wanting Rivers.
Right.
And then they did the trade, and
Colin was talking about it, and he said, look, if anything, the numbers-wise, he said Phillip Rivers might have won more championships in Pittsburgh than Ben did.
Was it Rivers or Breeze that's already got a high school job waiting in line? One of them's already got a high school job.
I think it might be Phillip Rivers.
It is
because
Rivers.
Drew Brees, they're talking about, he's the one that's got a reporting or a TV
Athens,
deal.
Alabama
Okay, so he's from Alabama.
is where he's from.
So he might want to just ride off into the sunset now and say, I gave it my damn best. Or in his case, I gave it my darn best.
Well, he likes playing.
I know he does.
It's not like you don't like. He's not having fun.
Here's the problem. It's the same thing with Cam. You got quarterbacks coming out every year that can at least play now.
New England.
You got veterans. I mean, but
Belichick signed Cam Newton at the last minute and didn't draft anybody because he didn't really want.
I know.
what was his plan? Stidham
Cam
for the whole year?
Newton-
I know, but who are the
Didn't
other
do
free
anything.
agents he could look at?
That's what I'm
Jacoby
saying, like,
Brissett has
he's
been
gonna
in
get
his system, and Jimmy Garoppolo might be available.
Why
So
didn't
he could
just
get
keep-
both guys that were at one time in his system underneath Tom Brady. I don't know. You just look at it, and with Phillip's age and really
Bears.
how he plays and his lack of mobility and his,
You know who plays?
it's just going to be tough for me to see Phillip Rivers really getting another shot.
Titans, Broncos.
I think the Titans stick with Tannehill.
49ers. But Saints. If Breeze quits.
For a year?
Breeze
No.
quits.
They want to re-sign Jameis Winston.
Okay.
I think Breeze will
His
play
eyes were
another
fixed.
year.
Okay.
Kevin.
Sean Payton, do you want James Winston or Phillip Rivers for 2 years?
He wants Taysom Hill. Everybody knows it.
I don't know why.
He says I listened
Hunter,
to an interview and they said Taysom Hill to Sean Payton is like Steve Young in the waiting for
Phillip
Joe
Rivers
Montana.
might be. No, they'll probably Philadelphia. Washington Hunter. He's gonna play. If he wants to play, Washington's a spot.
Oh, I know.
Chicago.
You were saying he
Maybe
might
Houston if they end up some type of weird trade. Maybe Broncos. But there's not many spots. Same thing with Cam. Like who wants Cam or Phillip Rivers right now?
That's
Either
what
one
I'm
of those.
saying. It's not more of a I know he wants to play, but it's more of a who's going to take the shot.
XFL baby.
It is starting back at some point.
I feel like Carolina's should take the shot with Phillip Rivers, but then you also have quarterback battles there.
Yeah, the rule situation is we haven't got it figured out yet. Like exactly where they're going to go with the Bridgewater. They got a new GM.
Do they want somebody young?
New owner? We're going to have a new stadium. We're going to have new uniforms. Like, there's so many things that's going to probably happen here in the next year to 3 in Carolina.
At one point, they were talking about moving Carolina too, weren't they?
Right. So the idea,
they at least moved the headquarters.
The idea that we're looking at, they've already moved the headquarters to Rock Hill. So South Carolina taxpayers they give a lot more breaks in South Carolina, and so they've been pushing this one Carolina thing for years. That we're all together, we're all one thing, but we're not. And then so they've moved the headquarters down there, and the thought being, since he bought this soccer team, Tanner, and he's already renovating Bank of America. He took out rows and rows of seats at Bank of America, then complained about we don't have enough seats at Bank of America for football. Like, okay,
who comes to your games anyway?
You just to come and took them out. So they're going to convert that 100. Tanner, the plan is they're going to ask the city for $250 million to put a roof on it, and the city's going to say no, and then they're going to say, okay, we're going to move the Panthers to Carowinds right across the state line. And then the football stadium is going to end up being the soccer stadium. So the football will be 100% soccer. Panthers going to end up down at Carowinds Boulevard with the 50-yard line going across the state line.
David Tepper, go ahead and have a deal set up.
No.
It's going to happen. I mean, that's where everything's leaning to.
David Tepper, go ahead. Have a deal signed up.
I can see the tea leaves on this one from a mile away.
Messi said one of his dreams was to play in America.
Yeah, he's already took out all those stadium seats.
Remember last time? How many stadium seats there is in Carolina, though?
Yeah, he took out 10,000 of front row seats just so just for soccer accommodations. They put a tunnel in the middle. They had tunnels already. They already had 2 tunnels for locker rooms to come out.
You walk
and
out the center.
Instead of the soccer players taking a left and walking out 50 yards in the corner, nope, we have to come out in the middle. So let's take out seats at the football. This is the play, Tanner, because you renovate your stadium. We got a soccer. Got to be really nice if the Panthers had a real good place to play. How about Carolina? North Carolina? Will you give me tax money? No. South Carolina? Yeah. And that's where they go. So be ready for the South Carolina Panthers.
You didn't know that your tax dollars go to every university stadium here in North Carolina, did you?
No.
Same with Bank of America. Same with, what is it, Spectrum Center?
I think they asked for $170 million a couple years ago for escalators. I did the math on it. That would be like, they could put escalators on every row in the stadium. And I haven't seen one single set of escalators.
Nope.
Stadiums do need that, though.
Stadium. They do need, yeah.
They need something for, like, people that have...
Makes you want to die.
They need something to have for, like, old people that are having to walk up all them steps.
I'd be all for that.
Or at least, like, an elevator
they were like,
or
we're going to put in these special... and they did put none of that stuff in there. And Tanner, you're right. When you go to one of the games, if you're sitting in the upper deck, and then you have to walk, from your spot to the stadium. Like, it's almost like a mile just straight up once you even get to the stadium just to get up there.
I've been in that stadium. I went and watched them play Bucks like 2 years ago.
We for years we had PSLs in the next to last row in the end zone next to the TV booth. We could see the replay that the camera guys messing around in there, and the speakers are right on my head, so it was just. Woof. So that the Carolina theme song. Have you ever heard the Carolina Panthers theme song?
No, don't do it.
No,
play it today?
Please
Y'all want to play it today?
No.
Nothing could be finer.
We don't want to hear
No,
that.
let's go. Let's wrap up what happened this weekend.
Oh, come on.
No,
Hunter.
I'm a Falcons fan. We can't hear Panthers in here.
Can you do the Dirty Bird?
No.
You can't do the Dirty Bird?
No.
You've ever seen the Dirty Bird?
No.
You don't even know what? God almighty. You're not a Falcons fan. Who started the Dirty Bird?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
Do you even know what the Dirty Bird is?
I don't look into the Dirty Bird stuff. I just watch the games.
You're a Falcons fan. And Jamal Anderson started the Dirty Bird when you guys were 15-1. No, 14-2. The Vikings were 15-1. And it's one of my favorite dances.
That's when they made the Super Bowl, wasn't it?
Right.
Was that what year was that?
You 98 maybe. Trying to find that.
And Falcons could actually win something.
Well,
They blown 2 of them.
you've got the 2 Super Bowls. I mean,
Yeah, and then freaking Vic Beasley gets hurt, and then we blow it.
yeah. I mean, well,
That's what happened. Vic Beasley got hurt, and Vic Beasley was balling out in that game. Then he got hurt in the first quarter.
Hunter, Tanner, pull up. Hit over here. Kevin Internet 3 cams near the bottom. Right there. Go back up. Go back up. Internet Kevin 3 cams. All right, here it is. The Dirty Bird. Anderson scores. And let's see the Dirty Bird take off. Here it is. Tweet, 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 tweet. It's still one of my favorites. I like the Dirty Bird. That and the Icky Shuffle is one of the best. Somebody needs to do a remix on the Cupid Shuffle to the Icky Shuffle, Hunter.
I'm going to remix the song.
You know anything about the Icky Shuffle?
No.
No, gosh, Hunter. I mean, Tanner. Tanner, I tell you what we're going to do is I'm going to get you a list of old highlights and have you do something for it. All right, Hunter. Saints 21-9 over the Bears.
Not surprised.
Not surprised from anyone. Thought Saints would put a little bit more points on the board on them, but they really didn't have to.
They didn't have to. And
Saints defense not getting enough credit
no,
as they deserve.
they're
right?
not. But the Bears defense is also very good as well. So I'll give the Bears defense a little bit of credit, but I will say this. It doesn't surprise me if the Bears only scored 9.
Mm-hmm.
Not at all. Did you see what happened when they scored that final touchdown? Jimmy Graham just dropped the ball and walked right out the tunnel. He did. He caught the touchdown, which was a great
How many seconds was
catch.
left in it?
None. There were none.
That was the end of the
That
game.
was the final play of the game. He caught the touchdown, dropped the ball, and just walked right out. Just walked right out. So he knew the season was done. They are, in fact, bringing back the general manager and the head coach for the Bears. That was a big question whether or not they would do that with Matt Nagy. Chuck Pagano has retired. He was defensive coordinator, also was the coach for the Indianapolis Colts for quite a while, battled cancer while he was the head coach for the Indianapolis Colts. That was when Bruce Arians stepped in and had his little stint there. So I hope Chuck Pagano enjoys retirement, but I will say them losing a defensive coordinator with a very skilled defense, better start searching for someone that can meet what Chuck Pagano was having that defense really do.
They fired he retired. What'd you say?
Yes, Chuck Pagano did retire.
I mean, I'm looking at their offense. They had 6 people carry the ball, counting Trubisky for 48 yards.
I will say this, Bears general manager, everything is on the table with the quarterback spot. That is exactly what he has come out and said.
Is Cam Newton going to be in Chicago?
No.
He's going to be somewhere.
He don't want to go to Chicago.
Somewhere. I will say this, though, about that statement. Cam Newton will go anywhere where they say you'll be the starter.
Well, I don't even know if there's any places.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think there will be any places.
I think best place for him is Kansas City or maybe even Buffalo or somewhere where you know who the starter is and he can run some short offense. Even the Steelers and their running game, Hunter. What if they had him running, in the red zone? Remember that they said it time and time again during that game. Steelers have struggled in the red zone this year.
I mean, you're looking at these players that are going to be free agents, and talking about Chicago. Obviously, New Orleans will be in the same boat too if Drew Brees, this is in fact his last season, because whether or not they are 100% sold on Taysom Hill or Jameis Winston, that's what it's going to come down to. But you got Dak Prescott, Phillip Rivers, Jacoby Brissett, Trubisky. They won't keep him in Chicago. Fitzpatrick, Tyrod Taylor coming off obviously a punctured lung, McCarron, Dalton, Colt McCoy, RG3, Matt Barkley, Cam Newton, Joe Flacco, Mike Glennon, Jameis Winston, Jameis in Chicago. Jameis in Chicago. I'm just looking around. They will have options. Kyle Allen will be one. Washington won't. We only had him for a year.
I want Jameis in New England.
Well, then let
What's the
Belichick.
deal with Brady,
That'd be
though?
something to watch.
Yep. I'm just saying, even Dak Prescott's going to be available.
Could be.
I think obviously Dak Prescott. A lot of people
Red Rifle.
Yes, the Red Rifle will be available. I think a lot of people will come and approach Dak Prescott if they do not franchise him. I think he will be the hottest commodity.
Indianapolis or Chicago goes after him then.
I believe so.
Chicago.
I think Washington does too.
Chicago wouldn't be a bad
Well,
spot.
we were getting ready to sign Amari Cooper to a huge deal. He just decided to go back to Dallas.
All right, well, Rams and Seahawks. Rams win in Seattle on the road. Russell Wilson, 11 of 27
I'll say this
in the
about
ball
that game.
And Jared Goff, 9 of 19.
I was gonna say,
Another
how the
terrible
heck did the
quarterback.
Rams win?
Another terrible quarterback.
I'll say
game.
this, Jerry. I feel bad for old Wofford or whatever his last name is.
Don't you feel bad for the backups that come in and then get injured?
I
Like
know.
you've been sitting over here this whole. It happens all the time.
And not only that, he had to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
Like they had him in a neck brace.
because they didn't know what if he cracked a neck bone or something.
Jesus,
Like
that's
think about that.
horrible.
You sit over, you back up this whole time, back up. This dude plays. He's
But
indestructible,
now-
never gets hurt, and then I get put in,
And then I get
hit.
hurt.
Like, come on.
He played only one game, was starting a playoff game, and got hurt. But not
Didn't
only
they have
that,
to put their third string in?
now who's their who's the other guy? Who is the other guy for the Rams?
I don't know off the top of
They
my
had
head.
Blake Bortles at one time in their quarterback room and let him go. I mean,
Both
even
quarterbacks were under 50% in this game. Like, well,
but I will say this: I give Jared Goff a pass.
he had a broken thumb.
He had a broken thumb that he had surgery on, and it's on his throwing hand.
and they showed it. Like, so this is my
had-
thumb.
had
His thumb could only open up that wide
He
instead of
had
that wide.
pins
That
in
first
his
thing
thumb.
though. Do it.
You could still easily play with that, though.
Not as a quarterback.
Tanner.
There's quarterbacks that play
Tanner.
with that.
Tanner.
He had pins in his thumb.
I'm telling you, as someone who's played the position and thrown the ball before, if I can't open my thumb at this wide, I can't hold on to the ball. And if
You got to hold the ball like that.
right. If you understand Brady, on the you remember the air in the balls.
Yeah.
So that's another grip thing. So the biggest thing for a quarterback is the grip. So that thumb is so important. Second thing is this finger. So the idea, and I'm gonna try to pull it up, see if I can get anybody. Troy Aikman's probably the best example of someone who can do it.
Didn't Derek Carr do it, though? Didn't he break his finger or something?
Depends on
I'm
which
not sure.
finger.
Well, I'm not sure what Carr broke, but what I'm trying to explain is
There's a difference though between no matter what we as humans do, whether you break your pointer finger compared to if you break your thumb.
right.
Your thumb is what makes us very different from all the animals on Earth except for
Dak
like
Prescott.
apes, because we can grip things with it. And that's if that thumb is not there to grip that football. It'd be different if it was like a block.
So-
and you could just hold a block.
Pull up my picture here of Troy. Kind of want to show you something. So this is Troy Aikman throwing the ball. Hunter, do you notice anything weird about his grip?
I can't really see it from here.
Oh, sorry. Hit the studio mode down here to make it big for him. All right, there you go. So Troy and some people, Hunter, and you'll see. So Ted Bridgewater,
He holds it on the back of the football.
right? He's not holding on to the laces.
Yeah.
So I did the same thing. I grip trouble. So what I actually did, I would put my thumb on the very top lace.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't put these four fingers on it. I put my thumb on it, and then the rest of my fingers were on the back of the ball, kind of like his. So the idea is, you see that his pointer finger, when you go to throw it, you want the pointer finger, if you can, on the very back
tip,
of the
yeah.
ball, and because it's almost like throwing a dart, and then that allows you to just spin it through.
My
So-
brother would hold it right on the laces because he played quarterback.
Some people can, because it's all about hand size and grip, and he can probably tell you too. And look at Andrew. This is Andrew Luck's grip right here. See, he's right across the seams, but he's got two fingers on the seams and two fingers riding up the ball. So this is one of the things that I like to look for when they're talking about hand size. Kyler Murray,
holds the back of the football.
yeah, he's not. His finger's nowhere near the top of the football, but the sidearm spin that he puts on it makes up for that a little bit.
Didn't he? He does that because he played baseball.
Yes. The baseball throwers they've got a little bit different spin on it. You can tell the guys who played baseball do throw it a little bit different. There's Luck again.
I don't even know why Kyle Murray didn't try to play baseball and football.
Just the money wise and the teams. There's different ways the contracts are set up. So there's Phillip Rivers. You see he's there close to top. Now we don't want to talk about Phillip's arm motion when we talk about anything, but we will talk. We will talk the grip, and you see there's Joe Flacco. He's got three fingers off the laces. So a lot of these guys don't even use the laces to do that. So that it is an important thing, is that thumb, and that's probably, I'm not a Goff fan, but you go ahead and switch us back. That is a good reason, or big reason, he probably was 9 of 19, Hunter. And so they this week, so their matchup is they go to Green Bay, and this defense now has to contend with Aaron and the Packers.
Not only that, there's still questions about Aaron Donald's ribs.
Yeah, ribs hurt.
So I mean, it's gonna be
He's
tough.
gonna play.
He'll probably
think?
play. How effective he will be?
Have they announced anything specific about those?
No, I've not.
The way
heard
he was
anything.
acting, it looked like he broke them.
I've not seen anything specific about that injury at all.
I mean,
I wonder if they're trying to keep as hush as they can as possible.
yeah, they don't want the.
They don't
even though
want-
the linemen are going to punch him in the ribs anyway. So
Right.
it's not
So-
like they're not
but
going to.
regardless,
They
if
know
he's-
his ribs are going to be hurt. Why would they not hit him?
Yeah,
in the
they're gonna-
ribs, trying to
regardless,
get him out of the
regardless
game.
if he plays or not,
He's
though,
getting a
I
kitty
think
punch.
I think Green Bay wins that game. It's just one of those things where, like you said, Jared Goff is still a few weeks off of surgery, and he still has pins in his thumb. And Wofford is not playing. Wofford looked capable when he was playing. He was moving out of the pocket and everything. Just, it's going to be a tall task. And the
Yeah.
reason why I think it's going to be an even taller task, one, you are going to Green Bay to play fresh off of surgery. You don't think your thumb isn't going to hurt and tingle a little bit more than someone else's thumb that's not broke? What do people say all the time is they get older, their joints, when it gets colder, it maybe someone that's had surgery, a certain, or they've broken a bone, a certain spot, doesn't quite feel as good in cold weather. I don't know. I could see
it's
this
6.5
getting
the
ugly.
spread. Problem being with them
6.5 for
for the
Green Bay.
Packers. The problem being with the Rams, you do have a warm weather team going to cold. Sometimes it makes a difference.
Not just
sometimes
a
it
warm
don't.
weather team, a dome team. They play in a dome.
Do they even have a dome really now? So the Rams, their defense, Hunter, going into this game, if their offense was 100%, I think I might even consider picking them. I don't trust the Packers. I haven't they've been doing this for 10 years, doing well, getting the playoffs, and then something weird, crazy happens. If it wasn't for Dez Bryant call,
Right.
he called it. They might have been in the Super Bowl, but they still ain't made it back. Something about me, I just can't pick. Even though they got 1,100-yard rush for Aaron Jones, I need to find that defensive rank. So I wanted to talk about them before in this round. But and here's the thing, what we may be setting up for a Packers Saints NFC Championship game, no matter what, because I'm almost to the point where I don't think at this point the Rams or the Bucks can beat
Either one.
of those matchups. I think the matchups are bad for those.
Yeah.
There's nothing that the key factor for the Bucks would be Antonio Brown, because it was their first game playing with him, but still the Saints got a top 5 defense. I mean, this isn't no joke. We got a top 5 D, and the Bucks, I don't know, Hunter. Y'all about beat them with Alex Smith.
We about beat him with Taylor Heineke.
Taylor Heineke. Break that down a little bit. That game.
I'm
the
seeing
Heineken
everybody.
coming in.
I'm seeing everybody everywhere online. Maybe we should stick with Taylor Heineke. Maybe I'm like, whoa. He's a backup for a reason. He played in the XFL. Listen, sometimes you can catch lightning in a bottle
You see,
and
he got
play
canceled
great.
for his vote this year. I didn't know if you knew that or not, but that's
Regardless,
that's one of the things.
Regardless, I'm just saying, Taylor Heineke, you played a fantastic game.
Yeah.
And I would want you on our roster as a backup. But if I have an opportunity to get one of these free agents that is coming available, even if there's an inkling that we can trade up and get one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the draft, and guess what? I'm sorry. You're starting to like Trey Lance. I would sit there and say I would probably take Trey Lance over Taylor Heineke. And it's not to say he can't play. For God's sakes, he's in the league for a reason. But we got a lot of guys that make it to the league and are just backups. And when you put them next to a guy, like, think about it. You don't think Alex Smith would have kept that game close?
Oh, yeah.
Probably made some
He's
some better
5-1.
throws.
He wasn't going to get blown out.
He wasn't going to get blown out. Taylor Heineke, what did you do? The one thing that I have said we can do when we have a quarterback that has 2 legs, move. He made some fantastic plays where he escaped the pocket and got out. That's fantastic. But
I haven't looked up on his resume. I bet he played basketball.
Heineke.
Yeah, the way he moves his feet and throws the ball, he throws, or if he didn't play basketball, I think he may be a baseball player. there's something about his footwork. It's really good, actually.
Yeah.
It's kind of not speed like Kyler Murray, but in the pocket moving around to where
He had good pocket awareness to get out of there.
He was very choppy with his feet, moved his feet very well. I thought that he's got some type of baseball or I thought basketball watching it, but
I'm not going to lie, and I'll say it. I'm not going to say his name because he's probably watching, but I had a buddy of mine that texted me during that game say, we found our quarterback. I said, there's no way.
Sorry.
I texted him back and said, we'll have to see how he continues to play, but I can sit here and can say after the game, it's not because we lost. It's just one of those things where even backups can go on runs. We've seen Nick Foles come in out of the backup position and play very great for a stretch, but what happens when you try and give him the reins completely?
Jeff Hostetler won a Super Bowl as a backup. Let's see. Trent Dilfer won. He wasn't really a back. He's the number 1 overall pick, but he didn't play 47%. Yeah, Hunter. You just can't rely on backups.
That's what I'm saying. It's like I would love to keep him on the roster, and he can be the guy where if we get in a crisis situation where we got quarterbacks that are down, he's going in. He's going to be the backup. That's the guy. I want him on the roster. I have no problem with that. But at some point, Washington, you got to find the guy that you're going to stick with for the next 10 years. Because we can't just keep going through, in NCAA football, they call it the coaching carousel. They go around. We can't keep going around in a quarterback carousel where it's a new quarterback every other year. You got to eventually find the guy that can at least be there for the next 5 to 10 years.
All right, couple of stats. I still ain't got y'all guys to pick Super Bowl winners this weekend. Y'all avoided that the best y'all could. I've got the Saints winning it. Hunter's only 3 teams in the NFL that are in the top 5 in rush offense, rush defense, and turnover margin. The New Orleans Saints, the Baltimore Ravens, and the Cleveland Browns. Rushing offense, rushing defense, and turnovers. Top 5. There's only 3 teams in all of them. Ravens and Saints, those 2 teams are top 5 in overall defense. Ravens at 2, Saints at 5. Bucks at 8 in defense, so we've got a good matchup there. Ravens at 2 versus Buffalo. Buffalo's 16th in defense. Damn, Cleveland's 21st in defense going up against Kansas City. But they do got their 2 defensive backs back, so at least they'll have some corners out there to chase those boys. Kansas City at 11, Green Bay 13. Tanner, 49 of 54 Super Bowl winners have been a top 12 defense. Only 5 of the final 8 are top 12. If Tanner Howard was putting $1 million down at Vegas, who do you got in the Super Bowl and who's winning it right now?
Say Chiefs. And
Browns.
No. Because they're playing Browns first round.
They can't play them in the Super Bowl either, I think.
Green Bay.
There you go. All right, so Tanner's going to go Green Bay and Chiefs. Who wins it?
Chiefs.
So Tanner picks, if he has $1 million, folks, Chiefs over Packers, a State Farm Bowl, Hunter.
But it is. Patrick Mahomes and
the State Farm Bowl, if we get that one. All right, Hunter, that kind of wraps up our coverage here, a review of the NFL weekend, NCAA weekend.
Coming into a close, slowly but surely.
It's the most exciting few weeks, but also the saddest because it is coming to a close, and then we'll have months of nothing but NBA and baseball talk, and just I don't know, that those two kind of wear me down sometime. Let's do some updates real quick on basketball. James Harden, bub. What in the
James
world?
Harden is just as cancerous right now as Kyrie Irving
And
is.
Kyrie. Stephen A. Smith this morning. I didn't even watch this.
No,
you
need to watch it.
It says he calls him for him to retire.
I've watched it, and it makes a lot of sense.
And I haven't even read it.
It makes a lot of sense.
I was thinking today when I saw the Kyrie stuff, I was like, why don't they should just trade him for Harden right now. Although I don't,
The Nets, I think I just read a report, the Nets, this was before Harden's most recent post-game interview. Did you see what Harden said in the post-game interview?
Yes.
Basically, it's over. Like, there's no saving this. And so, before
You're the one that's overweight, dude.
I know.
You're the one that's not guarding anybody.
He's the one
You're
that's
the one
not
that's not
trying.
there.
Yeah, that's not trying.
Like,
Boogie Cousins came out and said something, actually. I just had it.
You stand there with
essentially,
Boogie and Wall.
Boogie said
Yeah.
that the other 14 guys in this locker room are really trying hard.
Yeah.
And that it's kind
Somebody's
of a
not.
shame that he's not.
Think about all the teammates Harden's had
And he just runs through them.
in his career.
Philadelphia
Hunter-
is in talks to make a trade, and I think it might be Ben Simmons for James Harden.
I know y'all don't remember because y'all are younger or too young, but when OKC got beat in the finals by LeBron's Heat, okay, the Baby Thunder,
Why
right?
would you say that to me?
What?
I watched that final.
How old were you?
What, like, how long ago
11?
was that? 2010?
Yeah.
No, I was in high school. I was like
Yeah.
14.
Okay.
We watched sports.
I was thinking you were like 9. I was thinking, I was thinking you were like 9.
No.
I was thinking it was a lot longer time ago than it was
No.
then. I was thinking it was like 2005 or something.
No,
No, it was
When was it?
2010.
No.
2010?
Yeah.
Was it 2010? No, it actually might have been more recent than
Nah,
that.
well.
2010 NBA Finals, if I'm not
I think
mistaken.
it was
That's
like-
still 11 years ago.
It was either
No, I know.
2010 or like
a
2011 or
decade.
2012. One of those.
Shit.
No,
Yeah, it was that long.
I'm overestimating that. 2010 NBA Finals was the Celtics and the Lakers. No. Okay, wait a minute. I was going to say, that's overestimating. Okay, it was 2012. It was 2012.
I was even quicker than that.
Yeah.
God almighty.
Yeah, I was
It
16.
was like 2006.
You were way
I
off.
was 16.
All right. Well, either way, I thought that was James Harden's fault in that series. Two things.
Well, he's never played defense.
Well-
Never.
One, well, I'll say I think he was the number one cause. Number two was Westbrook's play, and here's why. Again, under no circumstances should Kevin Durant not be taking the most shots on the team. Both of those took more shots than him in that series. James Harden missed everything you took in that series off the bench. Westbrook, the thing that kills him is he gets those rebounds and takes off and then doesn't pass it. So those two, I thought the main reason was Harden didn't step up. I thought the bad play from Westbrook, non-team like play, was hurt them. But I honestly, I just like Harden didn't show up in this series, and then he's been in Houston since.
Sometimes he doesn't show up in series.
Like,
he fades.
Think about that. He has.
What was it? The year they had Chris Paul was like 3 years ago. They were like 62-17 or something. They had a great record, and he just shrank.
He's had Carmelo on his team. Dwight Howard's
I want
been
you to
down
think.
there.
I want you to. You can literally count on your hand
How many Hall
the
of Famers
NBA
has Harden played
future
with?
Hall of Famers that James Harden has played with, and he's not made an NBA final.
See, except for OKC.
Yeah.
Well,
He had
I'm talking
so
about when
many.
he's on his own.
He can't play with nobody that's like Hall of Fame. He's got to be able to play by himself because he wants to be the star.
Yeah, well,
Which is
He
but
wants
that's,
to be the LeBron.
that's not winning basket. If he wants to be LeBron, then he doesn't play like that.
so DeMarcus Cousins said the disrespect started way before any interview.
yeah.
What's he referring to?
He's talking about that interview of him basically saying that if you listen to the full interview, James Harden came out.
I
and
know
said
that interview. He said, but what disrespect is he talking about?
I guess
before
maybe
that?
James Harden has just been
not
not
playing,
not
huh?
there, like in practice or something. He's just treating him off. Because think about it. In that interview, James Harden literally came out and said, "There's no talent on this team." And I'm like, Christian Wood's playing good. You got Boogie, who's fully healthy. John Wall, who's now fully healthy. I mean, what do you mean there's no talent?
I hope
You could
I hope
argue that-
Kentucky gets sanctioned and Calipari comes to the Rockets.
well, if they keep losing, Calipari might look for somewhere else if he don't win.
Why wouldn't you offer Calipari like $15 million?
I'm
right
just
now?
saying, if they do make the trade, well, no, I'm just going to come out and say it flat out. The Houston Rockets will be a better basketball team if they trade Harden, because then they will
Yeah.
actually have that one person that's out there actually trying, actually trying to win, not just out on the floor doing whatever the hell he wants to do and then eating 5 cheeseburgers when the game's over.
Did you see the commentator the other night?
God, yeah. He said he looked like he just had a pregame meal.
meal.
Shit.
He looks like he's put on so much weight.
He looked like, you know who he looks like right now? Barkley. Older
Old
Barkley.
He looks fatter than old Barkley, actually.
He's
telling
probably
you, dude.
doing that because he might be ready to retire. I mean, he's 31.
Where does he want to go, Hunter? I mean,
Well,
really.
here's my problem with it. I don't.
What's he want? What's he bitching about?
That's what I'm saying.
what's the-
James probably doesn't even know what he really wants. And then you can transition over from really. James Harden and Kyrie Irving are almost in the same boat. The only difference is Kyrie Irving is so caught up in other things that basketball is the last thing on his mind. And So you can therefore say both Kyrie Irving and James Harden at this moment do not know what they want. James Harden wants out, but he doesn't know where or where he wants to go. He has preferences, but is Houston going to really do that for him? I don't know. Kyrie Irving, he wants to be in everything else, but
these guys don't take regular season basketball
when you
serious
listen to what
at
Stephen
all.
A.
They don't
says, he
care.
made a very good point. Stephen A. in his rant basically said it's as if Kyrie Irving doesn't think he can walk and chew gum at the same time. He has to. He can't play basketball and focus on other things at the same time. And Stephen A. made the best point when he said, "This is your job, and you need to show up to work." Like, do you know how
They
many
don't get
people
it. They
would
don't get
kill to be making the money that Kyrie Irving is expected to be making this year to be playing basketball? To be playing basketball.
They don't get
And
it.
I
It's just
agree
so
that
much money.
Stephen A. is so correct because he said, I know the headline says that he just needs to retire, but Stephen A. basically said he needs to retire because his mind's not on basketball. And that's what Michael did. Michael stepped away because his mind was not on basketball. His heart was heavy that he had lost his dad and he needed time away. Kyrie, quit just trying to soak up that money that you're expecting them to pay you this year, because eventually they're going to look at you and say, damn, you really ain't earning this 20-something million that we need to give you guaranteed.
Didn't he take a couple weeks off last year too?
Every player takes a couple weeks off.
I think he's taken 3 to 4 weeks off so far.
Bobo played 82 games 3 times, Tanner. Not Bobo, Manute Bowl.
Yeah, but most players, they're going to at
In
least
today's
take something
game,
off.
Yeah,
They'll
no, that's
take
what I'm saying.
something-
They're chicken shit.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's the most stupidest thing ever. Hunter, Tanner, you buy a ticket to go to a ball game. Do you want to see the backups?
No.
I mean, it's just that's the thing. And it used to be, and that's what Jordan used to say, is that I'm playing, especially the away games, and that's what I would get. Now they're like, we're not going to play the away games.
We don't want to play
games.
back-to-backs.
But I'm like, the away games are the important ones because your team needs you, and the fans in the other team sometimes buy tickets to see the away team to come see you. You may have fans in that city. There were thousands of Jordan jerseys in that city. When the Lakers come to Charlotte, Hunter, and we could do those games,
The Lakers are
it's
everywhere.
50% Lakers fans in that
Perfect
joint.
example. Buddy of mine was getting ready to get married, and for one of his bachelor's things he wanted to do, he wanted the guys just to go and watch the Hornets play. Bucks were coming to town, and Giannis was going to play. Giannis didn't play.
So they just all went.
We just sat there and we watched.
We've been there to those
we watched
games,
the
and
Hornets
it's just
played.
as boring could
How
possibly be.
boring was it when neither Luka nor Kristaps Porzingis played in the
watched the
Dallas
Mavericks
game against the
backups.
Hornets? I was like, and guess what? The Hornets still lost.
We had Tanner.
Hornets are trash anyways.
They
They have one player,
who?
LaMelo.
No, he's not a player.
That's their only player.
No, Gordon Hayward.
How did I say? It's Gordon Hayward. Gordon Hayward so far back-to-back games has dropped, 43 and 36?
Do what?
I think Gordon Hayward in back-to-back games has dropped 43 and then 36.
I'm glad he's playing well. We could have had this 4 years ago.
I know. I think this is a perfect spot for him, staying on basketball. I think this is a perfect spot for him.
All right. So looking at, where would Harden go? If you're them, wouldn't you be like, I'd trade him to like whatever worst team I can? But like, who's giving up something
Well, I
for him?
will
Who
say-
Trade
wants-
them to Hornets.
Who wants James Harden?
They'd have to give up a lot for
That's
that.
like, they'd probably have to give him ball.
You want that Popeye biscuit away from a tight end man coming in here like that? Come on now.
I feel, who I
Look
feel
at
so
James
bad
Harden,
for?
and then they'll trade LaMelo Ball, and LeVar Ball will say, "Oh, they'll never be good." That's what he said when
he's already started complaining about Hornets coaching.
That's when he said his other
Well, I'll
son
say
left
this,
the
Kevin.
Lakers. He said, "They'll
I'll
never
say
be
this,
good."
Kevin, after my talks with Borrego, I agree with him. I agree with LeVar. I have a lot of questions about this coaching
He's
staff.
annoying. LeVar's annoying.
And this was before LeVar even opened his mouth. But that's neither here nor there.
Hornets are 6-5 right now.
I'll say this.
I predicted 10 wins on the season.
I know. If you're talking about where should James Harden go, if you're the Rockets really and you're looking for a trade partner, obviously you have to be looking for a star of equal caliber to be traded for him. But I'm trying to move him out
I
of
got
the
an answer
West.
for you.
I'm putting him in the East.
I got an answer
so
for
I
you.
don't have to play him.
Julius Randle.
From the Knicks?
No.
Well, they're already talking about
They got too many big men in Houston.
No,
he wouldn't fit
they're already
there.
talking about possibly Ben Simmons from the 76ers.
But why would the Sixers want to do that?
They won't trade Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is too good.
If you're the Sixers, honestly,
It opens up the lane
I don't
for
like
another shooter
right.
around
I'm not a
Embiid.
Simmons fan, obviously, but Yeah, but Harden's fat right now.
No, I know.
That's what I'm
Harden
like,
Here's
if
the
Harden
problem.
was in shape and playing,
Here's the problem.
this would be-
James Harden has done all this shit to himself.
right, this would be so much easier. Like, getting out of shape is not helping
Like
people.
Doc Rivers has to pick up the phone and say, James, how you going to drop that 20 pounds before you get here next week if we make this trade?
Like, why do we give up a 23-year-old or whatever he is,
Right.
possible 6'11" superstar for you, and you're sitting there 31 years old and overweight,
Eating
and have
Popeye's biscuits.
and have never won anything, and you're a ball hog. There's a lot of things to go with that.
James just might eat himself out of the league. Wait.
Does Miami try to do something?
When you're as good as James, though, are you really going to pass the ball, though, when he was good?
I don't know. It's James Harden's style of play will never win anything. So whoever trades for him, I'm glad you bit the bullet, but
So who I really feel
you're going
bad
to want
for,
out of his contract within 3 years.
Yeah. Who I really feel bad for, Hunter, is Kevin Durant.
Oh, Kyrie's screwing him, and if they trade Kyrie for James Harden, he's getting a fat James Harden.
Well, the whole reason he went to Brooklyn was the cause of Kyrie.
Oh, I know.
Like, I'm leaving. Think
He's
about
leaving a team where
Think
he
about the
could get
Warriors. The Warriors, at the
rings.
end of the day, chose, whether they say they did or not, they chose Draymond over Kevin Durant. Mm-hmm. They chose Draymond over Harrison Barnes. They chose Draymond over Kevin
I saw a
Durant.
video today from ESPN. Draymond stops the 3-on-1. No, the Indiana Pacers just didn't know how to run a damn 3-on-1.
They just fucked it up.
They screwed it up. Draymond stood there and just turned. Oh my God!
Someone should ask Draymond how's it feel to get dunked on by LeBron after you punch him in
Someone
the
needs to
nuts.
ask Draymond
gets
why he
dunked on
whips his
everybody.
wiener out on a freaking Olympic airplane, but that's beside the point.
Well,
Takes pictures of himself, but that's beside the point.
he likes it, Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
They're best buds. But seriously, like, the Warriors, honestly, like, when everybody remembers that game
Mm-hmm.
when Draymond dribbled the ball up the court and Kevin Durant clapped at him for passing the damn ball,
Mm-hmm.
and he didn't pass him the ball, and then Draymond after the game or during the game called him a bitch or whatever.
Right.
Like, at what point did
That
the
was the
Warriors
tipping
not
turn.
come down
That
there
was
and
the
say,
tipping moment.
Right. At what point did the Warriors not come down and say, you know what? The guy that kicks people in the nuts, that averages 7 points a game,
All right.
let's get rid of him instead of the guy who averages 27 points a game as the 4th all-time leading scorer in NBA history. The guy who just delivered us 2 championships, who, you know, was the MVP of 2 finals. But, you know, let's settle with the guy who's the jerk. And that's the weirdest thing about this whole situation to me is the way that they love him so much that, like, I think they could have won 5 titles by now, Hunter.
Oh God, yeah.
And I think
Definitely.
Draymond has held them back. Terry loves his defense. Whatever, you can find people to play
That's a
defense.
bad defense.
I mean, but what he's done, I don't know, man.
Rockets head
so-
coach Steven Silas said James Harden was not at practice today.
Yeah.
We felt that it was best for the group and best for James not to come to practice.
they don't even want to be in there. Like,
The Rockets are planning. This is from Woj.
He's the veteran.
Rockets are planning to keep Harden away until a trade is done.
All right.
Up front office weighing best offers from Brooklyn and Philadelphia. Sources tell me process is moving quickly. So it looks like maybe by the end of the week that James Harden will be moved. If
Durant can get Harden without giving up Kyrie,
at this
I
point,
feel decent about it.
At this point, I'd give up Kyrie.
You know, but
because he's not going to show up for Houston either.
But think about, I mean, just I feel so bad for Kevin Durant. His first part of his career is dealing with Westbrook. Then he's got to go let Curry shoot and Clay shoot all these shots. And then he's like, well, I'm going to go here and play with this other ball hog point guard with nobody else in Brooklyn.
Well, don't you
and then
think this is the best
leaving him out
opportunity?
to
This is
deal.
the best thing for him that Kyrie's not playing?
Maybe. Spencer Dinwiddie, he's out for the
He's
season,
hurt,
isn't he?
yeah.
If he was there, honestly, I think Dinwiddie is a better fit than Kyrie is. And if you had Dinwiddie, Harden, and
I'm gonna tell you
And
right
Durant, I
now
like that
because
better
I'm
than
not
Kyrie.
nice about these things when it comes to players. If I'm Brooklyn, I call Kyrie up and say, "You show up next week, or we're cutting you. We'll just
Kyrie should
pay
just
you.
go to the Lakers
We will
with
pay
LeBron.
you what we owe you, but we're done with this.
Well,
And we'll sign somebody because Karis LeVert is good. They got good pieces on that team. Just for some reason, Kyrie wants to be. And I'm gonna just put it this way: fucking weird.
But what if you're a player? Yeah, if you're a player on those teams, like, why do you even like? You don't want to be around them. You don't want to
Like,
be around Harden. You want to be around Kyrie.
You saw how bad it was towards the end in Cleveland. You saw how bad it was, and what you were hearing out of Boston, and how Kyrie really was the problem. And now you really thought Kyrie wasn't going to be a problem when you brought him to the Nets. He He had a surgery last year just so he wouldn't have to play for the rest of the season.
I predicted that one too. Remember
yes.
that?
And now
I said,
and
well,
now
like,
look at him.
Before the season started, Tanner, I said, well, Durant's not playing
And
this year.
now
It'll be about
look at
3
him.
weeks before Kyrie sprains an ankle.
And now look at him.
Kyrie should just go to the Lakers.
No, he does not. LeBron looking at this definitely does not want
You a
Kyrie
Duke
anywhere
fan?
near.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah.
I can look at it.
Yeah, I know.
You can just look at it.
I'm looking
You
at.
can see,
I'm
you
looking
can see the evil in
directly-
their eyes.
I'm
There's
looking
evil in their
directly.
You want to know
at
why I'm a
Kyrie.
Duke fan?
Why?
No.
Because of Zion.
No, okay.
Because Zion's from Spartanburg.
Oh, well.
Anton Jameson's from Charlotte.
I worry about Zion more than
Wait, but what's
Michael Jordan's better than Zion.
What's this? Where do you live now, Tanner?
in Shelby.
What high school did you go to?
Crest.
What ACC superstar played at Crest High School?
David Thompson.
Go Wolfpack. Go Wolfpack. No, Tanner.
No.
You claim Spartanburg, which you're nowhere from, and your own high school has one of the greatest leapers and dunkers of all time. Did you know that he could change the dollar bill on the top of the backboard? You know what I mean by that?
No.
He could jump. You put a dollar bill, the janitor climb up on the ladder and put a dollar bill on the top of the backboard. David Thompson could jump up there, grab the dollar, and leave 4 quarters.
I can't talk to
The
this.
only reason I like Zion is because
He's from
Zion.
Spartanburg.
No.
no. No. Because Zion is like, see, David Thompson is a lot older than me.
Obviously.
And Zion is close in my, Zion's my age.
Yeah.
So like, I could relate to Zion more than I could.
So you didn't have an affiliation growing up.
Well,
then?
here, then you got to say this.
You didn't have an affiliation as a kid then. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
You just got to say this then. You're not a Duke fan. You're a Zion fan.
Yeah,
It's
he only
the same-
played like 12 games.
It's the same thing whenever you ask were people Cavaliers fans or were they Heat fans or are they Lakers fans? No, I'm a LeBron fan. Okay, you don't have affiliation with the
that's
team.
Tanner.
You are a Zion fan. You're
That's
not
me
a
with
Duke
LeBron
fan.
too, though.
Because you would have been a Duke fan when they were winning championships a few years ago.
So
Before Zion.
So Gordon Hayward's averaging 22, 5-4 now for the Hornets.
I think the Hornets will be fighting for an 8 spot, but I'm not sure that they'll get it.
Well, so far the East has been just crap that anybody can. It's just weird. Like they're all beating each other and they're all crap. It's not. Nobody's really standing out, and you know the Nets are sitting down there in like 7th, Hunter, and they got the best player in the East. And what do you? East is a weird spot. You know this LaMelo thing. Him averaging 7 rebounds is scaring me. Like if you're a point guard off the bench and you're getting 7 rebounds, who are you guarding?
It's the same thing that you can say though when Westbrook averages his 9 to 10 rebounds.
And that again, you're right. Like who's Westbrook actually guarding if he's in there getting rebounds?
Right.
When everybody in the league knows that the point guards in this league
On the
are
perimeter.
really effing good. And for him to be in there getting rebounds, he's leading the team in rebounding with 7.
He's
Like,
tall though too. He's 6'7".
he is. But again, Hunter, it's only 25 minutes. Like, what's PJ Washington doing? Like, what's Gordon Hayward doing? What's Bismack doing? Like, I know that they've got a weird, like their rosters is just weird. They got twins that don't do anything, but cause fights, and I don't know what they do.
I don't know.
They have weird hairstyles. Miles Bridges gets 2 or 3 dunks a game. Now Devontae Graham's averaging 6.5 assists. But PJ, I don't think PJ is a starter. I don't think, you know,
Listen.
the whole team together. Like if I'm putting together a roster, none of this makes any sense. It's almost like,
Why do you think I question the coaching?
all right, it's almost like Hunter. It's like if you give an adult $40 to tell them to go to the grocery store and giving a kid $40 to tell them to go to the grocery
They're
store.
gonna come back with
This is what
whatever.
the kid comes back with.
Yeah.
Just random ass shit that don't go together. Like, how am I supposed to make a meal with this? Like, what do I do? And then
I think LaMelo is playing better than I expected, obviously, but
I said he's going to do what his brother did. So anything around 11, 7, and 7, 10, that's all expectation for me.
with that being said, the East is wide open. So
Not for the Hornets.
Who's better?
the Hornets could get in at the 8th
No, I
spot.
mean not to win it.
No, not the winning. I'm just
No.
saying.
You
the
said wide
playoffs.
open.
I'm just saying playoff wise.
Playoffs. What, Tanner?
We're like 10 games in.
Who's better, LaMelo or Lonzo, though?
LaMelo right now.
shit.
Yeah, but who's the best out of all three of the brothers?
LaVar came out and said LaMelo was going to be better than all three of them.
I feel like that their youngest brother or is it like their oldest brother that's not in the NBA right now?
It's the middle one.
He's in the G League, isn't he?
Yeah.
That's my favorite one.
You feel like he could ever come to the NBA?
He might be on a team sometime. See,
He's in a G League somewhere.
What's weird about roster spots, like, they'll pull up guys, and you're like, why are they playing, or how they even get it? Like, they'll pull up a guy out of the G League and play him immediately, and you got guys that's been sitting on the roster don't get to play. It's so random.
That's what I don't understand about Gabe DeVoe.
Right.
Why did he never get a chance at Charlotte when he's a straight baller?
That's a great question as far as Gabe, and that's the thing too. As far as like, is it his defense? Is it his quickness? He wasn't that quick, but he's good. He's a great shooter, and you can always like Seth Curry. He's a great defender, but he can shoot the damn three.
Neither Steph.
Gabe can sit there in the corner.
Look what Gabe did at Shelby, and then look what he went and did at Clemson.
I'm excited to see if Adrian Delph gets
to
do anything. All right, I wanted to finish up with Bobo.
Gets his first career start.
First career start.
Yeah.
And the coach doesn't play him anymore. He played 16 minutes. He played the first quarter. He got 5 minutes in, hit a three, and he took him out. I don't know if Malone is like, I don't know if he wants him on the team at all, actually. I think this is a general manager's everybody else.
Someone else made that call. Said, I need him to start.
Listen to the minutes of the starters, Hunter. Will Barton, 38. Jokic, 34. Jamal Murray, 35. You expect that. Paul Millsap, 22. Bobo, 16. Off the bench, JaMychal Green, 22 minutes. Morris, 24 minutes. Dozier, 27 minutes.
Right.
Like, so as excited as I am to see him finally get a start, the Nuggets Twitter was all over the place last night. Picked up 2 quick fouls. Hunter, his first assignment. This is also another FU from the coach, I think, too. Did you see who he had to play? Durant. His first start. Coach, I tell you what. Y'all been bothering me about this kid. I'm going to let him start tonight.
Right.
Who y'all playing, Coach? Oh, I don't even know. Who you playing? Brooklyn. What an accident. I got to guard the 4th greatest scorer of all time. So, again, I don't think this coach wants him in there. I don't think he wants him on his team. He should be in the spot Paul Millsap is in. He should be starting over Paul Millsap. Millsap last night, 22 minutes, had 10 points, 4 rebounds. He's 6'8". He can barely get off the floor. Bobo can do that. He came in. He got 5 points in 16 minutes. Put that, it's sit there and the same thing as Millsap. So, we'll see. I wish they'd just trade him. Trade him for Harden. I wish Charlotte would trade for him, Hunter.
Right.
I would damn sure be sitting here in a Bobo jersey. Have you seen? They've got some cool shirts. I gotta find a Bobo shirt. I know you like that stuff. All right, let's get out of here today and wrap it up. And for today's show, Hunter, anything come across the board? I think
Nope.
I think we got it.
I think that was the most recent thing I could get.
All right, folks. Saturday.
Wait, breaking. As of 5 minutes ago, breaking. Brooklyn is acquiring Houston's James Harden in a blockbuster deal.
Why is that not on ESPN yet?
Because Twitter is quicker.
Twitter's quicker. We're gonna wait.
But it is folks. ESPN and SportsCenter are the ones that tweeted that. And Woj just come out and tweeted it too. Brooklyn is acquiring Houston's James Harden in a blockbuster deal. So
we don't have any details yet. They don't say anything about Kyrie in that. Surely they would have mentioned
I've not seen any.
Surely they would have mentioned.
I've not seen any other name.
Kyrie right now.
I've not seen any other name. Right now, it's just James Harden in a blockbuster deal.
Sitting here hitting, refresh. That's fine. Go ahead and play it. We'll walk it out. I was trying to get refresh. Hunter, dog pound. Just trying to think of fun things to say to end the show.
Nice. All right.
How about the dog pound? Who lets the dogs out? Who let dogs out, Tanner? Freestyle, go.
I can't freestyle to this. No.
What do you mean you can't freestyle to that? That's the Playmakers, baby. That's who we are.
They
See
don't
you guys
want me to
next
burn
week.
the stew down.
Shock Joxx, KTC Broadcasting. Listen to us where podcasts are available. Watch us on YouTube. replays on Facebook and everywhere else. KTCBroadcasting.com. Thanks, everybody, for listening.